everyone, a very good morning to you all. Welcome to the first lecture of Advanced Financial Management paper of ACCA. I hope all of you are doing well. We will start off with a quick round of discussion about each one of us. I'll start with mine and then I'll wait to hear yours. Some of you, I believe, you would have attended my classes earlier, maybe at the PM level or at the APM level. Please do let me know when I ask for your introduction. It helps me understand. Some of the names I'm easily able to recognize as well. Mehak for sure. Right. So let's just quickly start off. So I am Anushka. I'm your faculty for the Advanced Financial Management paper. I am a chartered accountant qualified in 2017. And since then, I have been in the corporates, right? So I started off my corporate journey with Coca-Cola, then with Pernod Ricard. So Pernod Ricard is a beverage, right? Alcoholic beverage company. You might not recognize the name, but it's the parent name of a lot of popular liquor brands. So, right, so Pernod Ricard, and finally, currently, I'm working with Flipkart in Bangalore, right? And I am also an ACCA, very importantly. I qualified as an ACCA in 2019 with a world rank 2 and all India rank 1 in your paper, that is Advanced Financial Management. Okay. So as I was a chartered accountant before I took up this course, I was eligible for 9 out of 13 papers exemptions, right? I just had to appear for the 4 levels at the strategic professional level. So the first paper that I chose was Advanced Financial Management paper, right? And that is where I got the rank in June of 2019. Then I appeared for 2 papers in September 2019, and that was Strategic Business Reporting and Strategic Business Leadership. So I attempted for 2 papers together in the September attempt. And then finally, December attempt, I gave my Advanced Performance Management paper and cleared all of these papers in their first go, making me qualify within a span of these 9 months, right? So that is about a brief introduction about me with respect to my corporate experience and my educational experience. Now coming to the teaching experience, so I've been teaching the ACCA students since I qualified. So basically 2020 onwards, I have been teaching students. And since 2020, so basically I had a very, I had a attraction towards teaching students. It helps me in a lot of ways, I really enjoy it. So it's like, one of those satisfaction you get that you are doing something you really, really like. And also, I have realized that when you teach something, you get so much, so many perspectives around a single concept, when so many students are attending the classes. And, so I have a very interactive session. I'll tell you about that later. And when students share their perspectives or they raise their queries, it gives me a lot of perspectives into it. So I really, really enjoy that. Okay. So I have been coaching since 2020 onwards. So I've taught I am currently teaching the APM, PM, and the AFM papers, right? So that is about me. Now, let's quickly hear about each one of you. Everyone, please take the initiative and share your introduction. So basically, you have that chat functionality available, right? So you can use the chat functionality to send in your messages. We tend to avoid the audio input from your side because it gets very confusing when the class gets recorded. So just one by one, please send in your messages in the chat box. I will read it aloud for everyone in the class. Okay. So everyone, please start. Mehak, I would request you to start off like you are one of my previous students. So let's start off with you, and others also, please, feel free to type in your introduction as, Mehak also starts off. I would really, really request. It helps me to why I am asking for your introduction. So I'll tell you what you need to, do with respect to the introduction. Just 1 second, hold on. Yeah. So I would want you to, type in your name, then your city where you are based out of, what is your status with respect to the ACCA journey? How many papers you have completed? How many, what is your percentage completion, right? How many papers you have completed, right? And if you are working, tell me that. And also, if you have done or you are pursuing some other course, you can let me know about that. Okay. So everyone, please start off your name, your city, your work, if you are working, and what is your status with respect to ACCA papers, and if you have done any other course. So Mehak says, studied PM, so she has studied PM from me. I'm a BCom honor student. I recently gave FR and tax paper in December. I'm left with my tax, TX paper on skill level. Okay, understood. Parul is from Gurgaon. I'm currently working as an internal auditor in AXA Excel. Okay, I have completed. I had one of my other students also working in AXA Excel, if I'm not wrong. I remember someone telling me I have completed skill level and have attempted SBR in December attempt. Oh, that's nice. So you are basically in the strategic level and you have experience of how the papers are since you have attempted SBR. Perfect. Okay, so FR and A Mehak has attempted. So you just have TX left. Perfect. Saroj is from Assam. Oh, Saroj, nice. Basically, I am also from Assam. My hometown is Guwahati. Um, Let me know from which city you are. Okay, and CDX you're working. 11 out of 13, so 2 are remaining. Further, I'm a BBA graduate in finance and accounting. Oh, right. So Saroj is also from Guwahati. Priya. Priya is from Bangalore. All right. 10 plus years of experience in the field of general ledger accounting and reporting. With my educational qualification, I've completed BCom and BCom from University of Mysore and CA Inter, pursuing ACCA with 4 papers at the strategic professional level. Oh, nice. So you have a lot of practical work experience now, but Priya, it will really help you in your preparation of the exams, right? So that's nice to hear. Because I tell you frankly, ACCA is a very much a practical, I'm not saying like practical as in calculative paper, practical as in if you have practical experience, it helps you. And if you are planning to get into, actual corporates after studying this paper, it really helps you because, all the papers at the strategic professional level, they are scenario based, right? So there will be a scenario from a corporate experience, like as if you are the CEO of a company or you report to the CEO of the company, and accordingly, that situation is given to you for you to frame answers. Okay, so it's very good opportunity with respect to your work experience. Okay, just hold on. Yeah. Next is Salman. Salman is from Chennai, working in an audit firm. Did my articleship. Oh, nice. So basically, you are doing CA as well, Salman? If you are saying articleship, but is it with respect to ACCA or with respect to CA? Okay, All right, so you're going to give SBL and AFM together in March. Perfect. I hope you're safe and sound in Chennai currently. Himanshu is from Delhi, took PM classes. 9 papers are cleared. I'm graduate and CA finalist also. Very good. So I understand that this would be your first paper at the strategy professional level, Himanshu. So there is a name with I mean Ashish. Basically, your name is coming as Lenovo. So I would suggest that you rename your name while entering the class as Ashish. It becomes easier for me to address you because there are a lot of students. So just it becomes easy. So Ashish has 10 plus years of work exposure with Tata, Hinduja, Pepsi, and currently with IBM. Just started my ECCA journey. So I believe you would have got exemptions. How many papers do you have to appear for, Ashish? Chandan is a CA and working in a big four in insurance sector. This is my first exam and I'm really excited to learn from you here. Very good. I'm excited as well. So, I really, so a lot of, as we get to know each other in the journey of learning, I mean, doing the classes, a lot of the students ask me, man, like you're working full time and then you're getting that. I mean, how do you feel or be so energetic during weekends? I really feel it's my zest and it's my interest and love for teaching that helps me excited that helps me keep remain excited for this. So I really hope that we all enjoy the classes. So Mehak has a doubt like what about the one who does not have any experience yet? Nothing to worry, honestly, nothing to worry. It's really I would say indifferent. When you look at the paper, it's not like they'll give you some question from your work directly or any particular industry. It is open to any industry. It's just that when you have dealt with finance related decisions in your work life, you have that practical view when you're attempting the paper. Nonetheless, the classes are going to be such that it is going to be equally, you all of you will be brought at the equal level, equal parity for attempting the exam. So nothing to worry. If you do not have any work experience, it's completely fine. Okay. All right. So Chandan, Salman tells me Chennai is still not fine completely. Okay. Next, we have Twinkle. Twinkle is CA and from Gujarat. All paper, 4 papers of professional level of working. I was working in audit assurance in a CA firm. Very good. Nice. So you're just starting off your ACCA journey. Gaurav is having 7+ years of work experience in consulting and financial reporting. I am working in Deloitte as consultant. AFM is my first paper. Looking forward to learn from you. Perfect. Then Ram. So I see a lot of you all are working already. Ram is working as a finance manager in an MFC, 7 years of work experience. SBR is given yesterday. Oh, so just for the December attempt. Just after completing SBR, you are on track to start learning AFM. Very good. Ankit is from Delhi, CA, working with one of the big fours. This will be my first paper in the ACCA journey. Leena, she is a CA from 2012, working for CAG. Oh, wow. Very good, very good. So we have a very diverse class. Honestly, it feels so interesting to learn about each one of you. So we have a very diverse class. Some of you are coming from the, skills and knowledge level. Some of you are already qualified, some as maybe CA or, some as CMA. And then you all are together to learn this paper. It really, it's beneficial when we have this type of a diversity in the class. You all will be sharing your inputs in the chat box, and everyone learns through this. Okay, and please don't worry, any one of you who is not working, or qualified CA, not qualified CA, it is all going to be same. I mean, I am sure that I teach the basics of the basic concept so that every one of you understands. Okay. So I hope all of you have shared your introduction. So for those of you who have joined us a little later, I'm Anushka. I'm your mentor for the Advanced Financial Management paper. I'm a CA and an ACCA, and I've been teaching the ACCA students for the last 3 years now, okay, with VGLD itself. So we were just learning about each other. The students were sharing their introductions with me, okay? So with that, let us begin our journey. Let me quickly open up the slide. So I'll address a question which keeps coming to me later on also. So like, by when will the syllabus be over? So you will have your exam in March, right? So we will finish off the syllabus by the second week of February, mostly, right? So that is just an input for you. So you can plan your studies also accordingly. Okay. And have you looked up the exam schedule? When is your exam? What's the exam date? Let's see. I'll show it to you also, like where you can see or find out AFM is always the last. Let me show it to you where you can see the exam date. Please feel free to use the chat box. I mean, you can share your views. So you know what you have to do? Just go to Google ACCA exam timetable. Just look it up and then you'll get a link from accaglobal.com, right? Click on it. So you all will be appearing in March 2024, right? So the last, 4th to 8th March is the exam schedule. So your exam will be on 8th of March. So if we wrap up our syllabus by the second week of February, what that date would be, let me tell you. Approximately, mostly we'll wrap up our syllabus by 11th, okay? Or, if it turns into like a one more day class, so maybe 17th or 18th, but mostly we'll try to finish it off by 10 or 11 or 17th or 18th, max to max. So you will get a lot of time to study on your own, approximately 20 days, more than 20 days, right? So that is how your self-study time will be, currently as we're starting off the course. And I will brief you how you should be preparing for the paper. Let me open up the slide. If you have any doubts, you can just put it in the chat box. I will address it in the class itself. So I hope all of you are part of the WhatsApp group that has been made for the ACCA students for the March 2024 attempt. I'm also part of that group. See, as we are going to meet every week, definitely you can ask your doubts to me in the next class whenever you get the chance. And also the group is open for discussion. You can always put in your doubts. So other students can also collaborate with you, or even I will be there to address your doubts. Okay, so you make use of the classes and the WhatsApp group to the maximum. I would really request all of you to be regular in the class. If you're attending one class today and then you're just not appearing for the two classes next and you come back for the fourth class, it really doesn't help much, although you are attending that live class, because there is no rhythm to your preparation. It feels like something or the other is coming out of the classes randomly. Okay. So make sure you are regular to the class. Okay. Parul says only admin can message there, not us. Let me check that. I will check that and get back to you. We keep that group open for discussion, so it's not a problem. Maybe the default setting was something like that. I will ask the group manager to change it. Okay. Okay. So we start off with the introduction slide for the AFM paper. So I'll tell you how my classes are going to be structured, first of all. So we are going to have regular classes on Saturday, Sunday from 10 a.m. to 2:30 p.m. Okay, so please mark your calendars accordingly. Okay, so the classes are on weekends. Now, how do I teach? I make use of the this presentations. Okay, these presentations are based on BPP modules. Okay, so there are two publishers for ACCA, and that is BPP and Kaplan. Are you all aware about them? BPP and Kaplan. Okay. So these are two authorized publishers for ACCA modules. Now, in our classes, we use the BPP modules. So make sure each one of you, please get the latest edition of the BPP workbook and the practice revision kit. We call it the PR kit. So there are two books for each subject. Okay, so we follow the BPP publisher, and you will have to buy the workbook and the PR kit, right? So workbook details out all the concepts, and the PR kit is with respect to the practice questions. I hope I'm clear. See, if any one of you, if you feel that, I am going a little fast and you want me to slow down, please feel free to, just ping it to me that, ma'am, I couldn't understand the last part, repeat it for me. I will do it. Anywhere, not just like this general discussions which we are having, even when we are into the classes and discussing the difficult, complicated concepts, you can always let me know, ma'am, that, we haven't understood. Okay, now how can we get these books? Please get in touch with Sandeep or Goldie from VGLD. They will help you out. Okay, so they are a part of the WhatsApp group. So make sure, you reach out to them. Okay. See, Mehak, the notes, they are based on the workbook, only BPP workbook. But sometimes if you feel that, you want to go into the concept in much more detail, because the class notes are supported with me talking to you, explaining the concept. If that is perfectly fine, then it's good enough. But if you want to deep dive into the concept, read something more, supporting examples, sometimes that they give additionally, it may be referred. Class notes and PR kit are normally sufficient, but if sometimes you get a doubt or something and you want to deep dive into it, then workbook also can be used. Jatin says, any changes in AFM? I have Kaplan from valid till September 23. Valid till September 23, you cannot use. There will be concepts of, this green finance and ESG that may not be there. Okay, Jatin. So it would be suggested that you, and also I'll tell you why I'm suggesting BPP for a reason. Because, when I will be giving homework in the classes, it will be from the PR kit. So if you use any other publisher, then you will not be able to follow which question I'm referring to. Okay. So everyone, please ensure that you get yourself a copy of the BPP workbook and the PR kit. Ashish is saying how to get your notes in hard copy. Okay, coming to that. So I will be using these presentations in my classes. Okay, and after completion of chapters, I will be giving you homework from the PR kit. So question numbers and all, that is why I was telling you that make sure you refer to the latest edition PR kit. Sometimes if I say question number 7, maybe in the later version it was question number 9. So you will keep getting confused with respect to that. Get yourself the latest edition, becomes easy for tracking for each one of us, right? So class notes and the PR kit and the workbook as a recommendatory item that you can refer to if there is any in-depth study that you want to do. Okay, now class notes, I will be sharing these decks which I'm presenting to teach to you. It will be shared with you in a Google Drive. So Sandeep from the admin team, he uploads these notes on the Google Drive, which you'll get the access to. All of you can download the notes from there and study. Okay, if you feel like studying on the laptop, good enough, or you can make a download of it and print as well. Okay. So Chandan says, Chandan has raised a very much a valid point. He says that he has never given an exam on laptop, and that too of financial management type of practical paper. Now let me tell you, Chandan, it is all right, and others also for whom it is the first time an exam on a computer, don't be worried. Entire class we will be practicing on Excel and the Word file. When I'll be coming to all of these things. Make sure you follow the instructions in the class properly. I'm telling you, it's a lot of the students have got very good marks in AFM just for sticking to the class and following the instructions that I keep. So because I have also done ACCA and I'm accustomed, I'm used to that, and I've also been close to the students for the last 3-4 years. It becomes the type of tips that I'll be sharing with you. You can incorporate it in your studies, and definitely you will pass it out. Okay. So don't worry that the exam is on laptop. I'll tell you, there will come a point of time during our studies, you will realize that it is good that the papers are on computer, because there will be so many tips that I will be sharing with you to quickly get the numbers on Excel, which will be used for exam also. Rather than doing it on calculators, it will be easier to do it on Excel. Okay, so it is going to be a benefit in disguise. So don't worry, it is a laptop based exam, yes, but it's nothing to worry about. You will get used to it with all the practice that we are going to do in our classes for the next two months. Okay, I will get to that as well. So Ashish has a doubt that what is the paper type, like is it theory or is it practical, and what is the passing percentage criteria and all. So let me tell you, this paper is primarily practical. Okay, bare minimum 50% of the marks will be for calculations, but it is a paper to make you come at the senior position levels, like you are the CFO or you're reporting to the CFO. See, let me tell you frankly, and whoever is working will also resonate with it much more. When you keep on riding up the corporate ladder, the time you spend on doing calculation comes down drastically. There will be people who would have done those calculations for you. You have to present your analysis, evaluation of those calculations, or interpret the results for the senior leadership level. So at the AFM level also, while you have to do some calculations, but you'll have to support it with a lot of analysis, right? And that you will be doing in the papers also, because that is the expectation at the senior position levels in companies, that you are able to express your analysis, what your thought process is on the basis of some data which is provided to you by maybe your juniors, or you have done it yourself. So it's going to be theory plus practical. Majority part of it is practical. But let me tell you a good news. Theory in the strategic professional level is not like you wrote some concepts, right? You wrote learning some concepts and you're repeating it in exam. No. It will all be scenario-based questions where you'll have to make interpretation of the scenario by applying the concepts. Please listen to me. you will be given a scenario. The theory questions also will be around these scenario. You will have to solve these theory questions by applying the concept that we will be learning in the class. So it will not be like what is a particular concept or what is NPV. Never it will be tested at the AFM level, that you have to describe or give definition of the concept of NPV, that is the net present value. Never. It will be like, how NPV can be useful for, this particular organization in question. So it's all application based. Absolutely right, Chandan. It is all application scenario based questions that you will have to answer by making use of the concepts that you will be learning in the classes. Okay. So I hope I have answered first part of your question, Ashish, that whether the question is theory or practical. It is a mix, but majority part of it is going to be calculation based, right? Now, what is the passing percentage criteria? Now, let's have a look at it on the ACCA practice platform itself. Okay, let's have a look. So I hope all of you have used this website, accaglobal.com. If not, please understand that, this is going to be very useful throughout your ACCA journey. ACCAglobal.com, right? Then you hover over to students section. Students, then you go to study support resources. You select ACCA qualification, select the paper, AFM. You scroll down, you will get to see a lot of these things. One second. Oh, yeah, it's here. So this is the pass percentage that we have for the AFM paper, trending around 45% on an average, right? Just 1 second. So this is the pass percentage that we have for this paper. Right, Ashish? So I hope you have understood. So, it's pretty high if you compare for other papers. Like I'll show it to you for APM also. I'll come to that. Okay, so I was telling you this, that how many students, okay, so from pass percentage basis, so these are the pass rates, like out of 100 students who appeared for the AFM paper, 45 students on an average passed the paper. Okay, so December attempt has just happened, so we'll get to know it in 1 month's time, like how many percentage of students passed it. So this is the pass rate, as in how many students have passed the exam out of those who appeared for it. Okay, so it's fairly high. I'll tell you, let's see, just compare it to the APM paper. APM trends around 34-35%, right? Similarly, like SBL and SBR. Jatin, I'll come to your doubt. So SBL is a mandatory paper. So here the pass percentages are very high, trending around 50-51%. Okay. So this way you can also refer to, on your own, like what has been the pass percentages at the strategy professional level. So for AFM, it is around 45%. Now, Jatin, any changes in AFM? If anyone does your recorded session. So as I said, okay, so I'll tell you where you can understand what all are the changes. Look at the screen. In AFM, you go to this part, syllabus. 1 second. So look at this. These are the changes, table of amendments for the AFM paper, which are effective from September 23 onwards. Okay, so from September 23 onwards, these are the changes. As I said, primarily it is about ESG, then green finance, very important and critical topics. These are new topics, so it might get tested very easily. These are all the changes which we will be covering in the classes, but it is not there in the recorded classes. So It's these are the changes, and if you want to download, refer to this, you can download the file from there and understand the amendments. Okay, I hope I've addressed all the questions which have come in the chat box so far. Let me know if there is any follow-on question or any other question for that matter. Okay. Study Hub, of course. So let us start off. I'll come to Study Hub a little later. Okay, I'll come to the presentation for the timing. Let's start off and then I'll explain to you about ACCA Study Hub, also very important tool. I would have covered it anyways. Okay. Yes, so out of 100 marks, you need to score 50. So the passing mark is 50. Okay, Ashish? Just hold on. Yeah. So let us understand like what are the expectations from you in the exam, from the classes also. So you have to be regular in the class, as I told you. If you are not regular, you will not be able to understand the concepts properly. There is no linkage to the concepts. So it becomes difficult to understand, So be regular in the classes. Preferably, use laptop while attending the classes. Very important that you are using laptops. Okay, why? Because your exams are going to be on a desktop. Okay, so if you are using Excel and Word file for answering the questions which we are going to discuss in the class, it will be really useful for you. So make sure you use a laptop while you are attending the class. All the discussions, whatever I ask you to solve it in Excel and Word only. Forget pen and paper now. Please do not use pen and paper. Even the calculations, you do it on MS Excel rather than a calculator. So banish pen, paper and calculator from your side. See, calculators are allowed in exam. Let me tell you, calculators are allowed in exam, but because it is an AFM paper and you will have Excel available to you readily, it's better to do the calculations over there rather than doing the calculations on calculator and hard coding these numbers in Excel, the solution file. Because I'll tell you, there are marks for the workings also. So if you are not showing the examiner the workings, he or she will not award you marks. So make sure all the calculations that you do, it is on Excel itself rather than doing it on a calculator and then putting those numbers in the Excel. It will not fetch you marks. Okay. So Jatin says wants to finish the syllabus till results date. That's why I opted for recorded, so you can get the access for new topics as well. Result date meaning what? This December attempts result date. Any reason why you want to do it like from that till that date? Santosh says, is it a basic Excel? All the functions that you will need to solve the questions for the AFM level, you will get it in Excel. The Excel version that so it is not advanced Excel that they will be providing to you, or in fact, that is also not what is expected to solve at the AFM level. No, nothing as an advanced Excel, very basic Excel. If you are working, you would already be doing it. Okay. So Jatin, I would suggest that you go for live classes of AFM, and the other paper, whichever you are doing, you can go for its recorded classes, because there are amendments in this paper and you would miss it out if you're referring to the recorded classes. Okay. Ram says, is asking about professional marks. We'll come to that. It is covered in this slide. Okay. So what is professional marks also, that I have to explain to all the students. So we'll come to it later. Yes, so Chandan, you are right. The calculative stuff, not just the calculations, but the supporting, statements also you can put in Excel. And the theory questions you will have to answer in Word. So don't worry, I'll show to you the response sheets also in the class today itself, like how it is going to look like, how the exam is going to look like. We'll cover all of that. Okay. I'll show it to you, Gaurav. When I show you the exam papers on the practice platform, I'll cover this part. All right. So far so good. So the exams are going to be on laptop. So make sure everything that we do in class, you also are doing it in MS Excel and not pen and paper. Make yourself accustomed to the laptop, because ultimately, unless and until you are accustomed to the laptop, you will not be able to, appear for the exam properly. Because just imagine you are practicing all throughout on pen and paper, and on the exam date you feel that now I will appear on a laptop or a desktop. It's not going to work out for you for sure, because your brain is not accustomed to typing the answers on Excel. Because when you practice on Excel, you come across some problems and then you try to problem solve it. So that will not be possible if you're practicing all along in an on word and on pen and paper, and then you plan on giving the exam on Excel. So avoid it right from the beginning. Do it on your laptop in MS Excel and Word, right? So that your typing speed also enhances. Okay, next point, what is expected from you is attempt all homework questions. Okay, so how the classes flows are, we will be covering a particular chapter and then I will be giving you some questions as homework, right? So make sure you do it, and then whatever doubts that you may have, you can discuss it in the class. Okay, so attempt all homework questions, because very frankly, if you are not practicing, you will not be able to attempt the exam, even though you are 100% clear on concepts. So make sure you practice along with being clear on the concepts. Okay. Next, raise queries in chat box whenever you are stuck on any point. Conceptual clarity is extremely important. Let me tell you, there will not be instances that you will get a common question in exam. That a question which is there in the BPP kit or past questions, it will repeat itself in exam. It never happens. So you have to be conceptually very clear. You cannot learn the calculations and similar and expect similar questions to come in exam. They will tweak some points. So unless and until you are conceptually clear, it's not going to help you, because the questions are going to be different. Don't expect common questions. So conceptual clarity is very important, and for that, make sure you use the chat box functionality. Just type in your doubts like you are already using it now. Just type in your doubts in the chat and then I will address it in the class. Okay. So raise queries in the chat box whenever you are stuck on any point. Conceptual clarity is extremely important. Okay. Now coming to exam pattern. Some of these things I've already discussed with you. It is going to be a computer-based exam, right? It's not pen and paper. It is a computer-based exam. If you have any doubts, just feel free to ask me. Maybe if I am not able to address it with specifically to the CBE, I'm talking about just the exam, not about the paper, AFM paper, just specifically, how the computer exam works. Just let me know. I will guide you how you can approach it. Okay. Paper doubt, of course, we are going to solve it. Even with respect to the CBE, if there is any doubt, just feel free to ask it to me. Okay, now since we are on this topic, let me show you how a computer-based exam actually looks like. Have a look over here. Now, all of you must do it alongside me as I am doing it. Okay, please go to Google, do it on your own. On your laptops, please open ACCA practice platform. Just type this and do it along with me. Let me know if you are you have reached till this point. Done? So what you will have to do, click on this CBE practice platform. Okay. Just, I think, 1 second. Yeah, sorry, here only. You will get an option to log in now. Look at this CBE practice, CBE platform support, and then you get an option to log in now. Click on this, everyone. Please let me know if you're getting stuck anywhere. I want all of you to log into your practice platform. So be with me. Click on this login now button. Have you reached this page? Are you on this page? Confirm. I'll wait for the response. Please confirm to me if you have reached this page on your Google. I've got just 3 S's. That's from Chandan, Mehak, and Salman. Others, what are you doing? Yes, perfect. So now you will have your ACCA username and password. Type in that username and password. Himanshu, why don't you have your username and password? All of you registered with ACCA, no? Please let me know. Get access. Himanshu, can you reach out to Sandeep with the screenshot? Sandeep or Goldie, they will help you out. Okay. Still have a look here. Type in your username and password, and okay, do one more thing. Just star this, add this as a bookmark so that later on you don't have to follow such long process. You will, if you have bookmarked this, you will, and you click on that bookmark later on, you will directly land on this page. So add this as a bookmark on your laptop or desktop, whatever you are using. Okay. So this is starred for me. So it becomes a bookmark. So I will just, whenever I have to open, so let me just show it to you here. This is already starred for me, so I can look at it anytime I want. Practice platform. Okay, so it is already bookmarked. So you can also bookmark it. All right, so click on sign into my ACCA so that you directly come on this page and you can, start logging in. So I hope all of you are able to see a screen like this, right? Click on advanced financial management here. Click on this advanced financial management. Please follow all the instructions. And then you click on ACCA official resources. Okay. Then you click on practice exams. Okay. And then assign yourself any paper. So like I have already assigned to myself the December 23 mock. Okay. So before every exam, so like this is for December 23 attempt, you will have that for your September April exam, also the March attempt, sorry. You will have it for March exam also. It will get published here after some time. Mostly it is done in the last week or last 2 weeks before the exam. So you will get this mock for March 24 attempt also later on. For the timing, just to show you how the exam is going to look like, click on AFM pre-December 23 mock exam. Okay, assign it. And then if you scroll down now, here, bottom, please tell me if you're able to see the assigned paper. Whichever paper you have assigned, it will show you at the screen over here. Self-assigned material. Let me know if you're able to see. Am I audible, everyone? All right, perfect. Okay. So click on start over here. Okay, pre-December. So I'm just clicking on start. You can start off your paper. This is what you're going to see. This is the layout that you're going to see on your screen. Okay. Now click on next. All these introduction and all you will get to know from me myself only. So don't have to read it and tell this to you all. Keep on clicking on next. Click on yes. Now this is where the exam starts. Okay, section A and all I will tell you. This is how the exam starts. You click on next. Okay, this is the question. This is how the exhibits are going to look like in exam, this they will give you the following exhibits available on the left hand side of the screen, provide information relevant to the question. Okay, so you can you'll have to open each one of these exhibits, right, and read them. Adroit company is a nationwide chain of sports centers. Its product line includes blah 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 blah. Everything will be given to you here, and it will be given to you in different exhibits. See, like you can open this now. Takeover defenses, financial details. Look at this. Look at the length of the question. This is a 50-mark question, so obviously it is very lengthy. And then employee remuneration. Okay, so 4 exhibits are given to you. So now you have to tackle all of these exhibits in exam. Okay, also let me just tell you, you have the option to resize the exhibits like this. You can make it smaller, big, like however you want it. So it is available to you. You can press escape to exit a particular exhibit. Okay, just press escape. If it works for you, sometimes it doesn't. So escape, or maybe, just click on the close button here. So you will be able to close the exhibits. Now coming to the response options. See, questions, obviously you'll not be able to understand now that you're just new to the paper, one day into the preparations. Obviously you'll not be able to understand the questions. But let me tell you, see, requirements also, let me just show it to you. How the 50 marks requirement. It's not a single question of 50 marks. Don't get misunderstood. So, there will be subparts to it. The total of all of these questions, these small questions, they will add up to 50 marks. So total will be 50, out of which there will be multiple subparts to it. Okay. Read this statement. I will come back to it later also. Read the statement. Professional marks will be awarded for the demonstration of skill in analysis and evaluation, skepticism, and commercial acumen in your answer. Okay. So remember this line for the timing. I will come back to it. So this is how the requirements are going to look like. It's not just one question, that you have to write for 50 marks. It is broken down into subparts. Okay. Then comes the response options, which I'm telling you, Excel and the Word file. Look how it is going to look like. Word processor. A very basic word processor, like a notepad that you would have used on your computer. You can type in your answers. Randomly, I'm just typing, okay? So you can type in your answers. You can use your basic keyboard shortcuts, which you would already be aware about. You can use Control C for copying. And then if you want to paste it, you click on Control V. It gets pasted. Then if I want to cut it, what is the shortcut? Control X. So all of these are working. I'm using my keyboard shortcuts only. See, Control V, if I press, it is getting pasted again. If I want to undo this, Control Z works. Redo it, Control Y, it works. So the basic keyboard shortcuts that you would have used on your laptop, it will work. Now, again, if I want to make it bold, Control B, it gets bold. I want to underline it, Control U. I want to make it italics, Control I. Okay, so all of this shortcuts work in your ACCA practice platform also, right? Now you want to write something in bullets points, you can write it in bullets. Okay, you want to give it numbering, you can do that. You can change the indenting. So I want to change the indenting of this statement. I want to move it towards the right. Maybe show it like a sub point of point number 2. So I can do that. Okay, I want to make it come back. Okay, so these all functions Please have a look at the ACCA practice platform after the class also, so that you understand each one of them. See, these are nothing but, your basic cut option. You can click also and cut something. So if I want to cut this part, I can click on this, it gets cut. Or you can use your keyboard shortcuts like Control X. Okay, Control Z also works. Now I want to undo it. See, it got undo. Redo it, search for something, you want to find and replace something, bold, italics. So this is about your word file. Very basic. It will be used for writing your theoretical answers. And there is going to be a report. So if you look at the requirements here, have a look. Every 50-mark question, that is the first question, it will ask you to prepare a report. It is a mandatory question. All of the first questions in exams are a report question. So you have to write a report. I'll teach you all of this, don't worry. But how to write a report, it will be here. It will be in this word file that you're going to write the report. Okay. So this is about the word file. Now let me show it to you how the Excel works. You have to click on spreadsheet. Very basic again. Some numbers, 4, 5, 6. I want to do a sum of this, so equal to sum, and then close the bracket, sum. You want to use a sum product function. So sum product. So sum product you can use. I'll be teaching you all of this, don't worry. The formula and all. So I can do a sum product, it's 29. What is sum product doing? You know what? 4 into 2, something you could have done like this also, 4 into 2 and then this. Now see, let me show you how the dragging of the formula also works, like it works in Excel. So I have done a sum of this, right? E4 to E6. Now if I copy this formula and I paste it here, see, it is now doing a sum of column G. So the formula can be dragged like it happens in Excel. Please tell me, are you able to follow me or not? Anything you have not understood so far? I'll wait for you, everyone. Please confirm to me. Are you with me so far? Any doubt? Okay. So the drag formula works. Then what else? Simple like multiplication and all, obviously it will work. Then other formulas. So I'll be teaching you all of these formula later on. Like you can do NPV formula, you can use it. So it's a basic Excel, simple Excel that you'd have to use in exams. So all of the numbers. In fact, of course, like if I have to write that calculation of NPV, like if I have to give a heading, so I can give it like this, calculation of NPV, and now I'll do the calculation over here. So of course, the explanatory part of the calculations also you'll have to do. It's not like a rough sheet. Don't confuse Excel to be a rough sheet. It will be evaluated by the examiner. So make sure you're writing it as if it is the final answer. So this is your response options. Whatever you are writing here, it will be submitted to the examiner. It is not rough sheet. If you want to do some rough work, you can use it here, scratch pad. This does not get submitted to the examiner. Do anything you want to do over here, it will not get submitted, but please understand, try to avoid using it. I'll tell you why. Why does a person use a scratch pad? To scribble something, some thought that is coming to your mind while you're reading the question. So for example, you have read this and you have to note down while you're reading this question that, the capital is going to be 25 million. Rather than writing it in scratch pad and opening one more screen on your laptop, you write it down here. Maybe here, or I've just written down here. I what I would do, I would write it down somewhere in the right side. Okay, so all of these rough things are noted. Okay, so all of these rough things I will note it in Excel itself. When I am done using it in my answer, simply go and delete. See, pen and paper question, format, you cannot do this, that you scribble on the main answer script, because you don't have the option to delete it. You'll have to cancel it out and make the paper dirty. But here it is nothing like that. You can simply delete it, right? So this is something you can do. Rather than using a scratch pad, you can use the laptop, the main answer response option, and delete it when you're done. Okay, so a recommendation to you to avoid using multiple screens, because I'm telling you, it becomes difficult to toggle between the screens. So now, like, I have to open this, then I'll have another scratch pad open, I'll have the word processor open. So multiple sheets to avoid getting confused. Make use of the word processor and the spreadsheet for the scribbling part also, which you can delete later on, right? Yes, alt plus formula does not work, you're right. Like it in Excel, it works now, alt formula. Alt will not work over here. You can't use alt. Okay, the control formula, mostly they will work, but not the alt formula. Okay, so I'm just selecting this, clicking delete, it gets deleted. I just pressed on the delete button on the keyboard. Okay, so are you with me so far? Now, if I want to write a certain number as a percentage, so I've written 0.01. Now I have to show it to you as a percentage. I'll click on this 1% without decimal. Okay, so like this, percentage. I want to show it as a, dollar zero. So I can do this. Multiple options are available. You are not able to highlight and exhibits. I'll come to that, Parul. Gaurav says, can we use dual screen in remote exam? Dual screen meaning what? Like, you see, I have multiple screens open here also. See, like, this is open. I can close it. I can open another screen. So yes, dual screens are possible. Multiple screens you can open together. But the thing is, you'd have to toggle it using your mouse. You can't use alt tab here. Okay. Now, Parul was not able to highlight. I'm surprised with that. So, see, this is how the highlight function works. 1 second. Okay, so if I want to, for example, highlight this cell, click on this. It gets highlighted like this. Okay, now if I want to highlight something in the exhibit, select this, click on highlight. Click on highlights. So it works like this. Dual monitor screen. I'm not able to understand properly what you're trying to say. Two tabs? No. No, two tabs are not allowed. You just have to work on this. So Chandan has a doubt. Chandan, like, do you want to, if you, like, can I remove the highlights? See, whatever you're highlighting here in the exhibits, in the question, let it be. It is not getting submitted to the examiner anyways. What gets submitted to the examiner is just these two files, word processor and spreadsheet. So if you're leaving this highlight, you want to leave this highlight, maybe you just want to highlight this is the file. Let it be. And if you want to inquiry about the highlights that you have done here, it doesn't get submitted to the examiner. What will get submitted is this too. I'm surprised, Parul. Ideally, it should not have happened. Okay. Do we get complicated formulas for reference? See, I'll show you what all formula will be available to you. Click on help and the formula sheets. These all formula will be available to you in exam. Anytime you want to know whether a particular formula will be available to you or not, click on help and the formula sheet. If it is covered here, it will be provided to you in exam. Okay. Vijay, I hope I answered your question. Now, next, what question will be? How many questions will be there? There will be 3 questions. I'll be coming to that in the slide itself. I have it covered. So don't worry. I was just showing you how the exam format looks like. Okay, so Chandan, you may or may not highlight. You may or may not highlight. It is not like you have to highlight for the examiner to look at that particular cell. You want to do it out of your wish, you can do it. But not like ACCA is telling you that you have to highlight the main answer. No. So if you want to save your time, you can avoid doing it. Just do the calculations, write down whatever you have to, explanation you have to write down, do the calculations and move on. Examiner is bound to read through all the workings that you're giving in the word processor and the spreadsheet. So it's not like only if you have highlighted something, he will refer to that. Okay, Chandan? Perfect. Now let us come back to the slide. One second. Yeah. So as I showed to you, it is going to be a computer-based exam. I've shown you how the response options are going to look like, how the questions are going to look like, right? So it's a computer-based exam. Exam duration is going to be of 3 hours and 15 minutes. So total time that you are going to get for your exam is going to be 3 hours and 15 minutes. So it's not like 15 minutes are for reading or anything. You will have total time of 3 or 15 minutes. However you want to use it, it's on you. Okay, it's not bifurcated that 15 times is reading, 15 minutes is reading time, writing time, nothing like that. As I told you, pass mark is 50%. Okay, Priya wants me to show the formula sheet again. Let me show it to you. So you all also can refer to it. See, this is the exam screen now. Click on help and click on formula sheet. You will get access to all the formula here, whatever will be available. We are going to go through all of these concepts. Don't worry. I'm just showing you the face of the exam. Nothing I'm expecting you to know from here as of now. Okay. Yeah. So as I said, pass mark is 50%. You need to score 50 out of the 100 marks. Paper is of 100 marks, okay? 50 marks first question, 25, 25, the next 2 questions. We'll come to that also. So all questions are compulsory. There is no optional question. Sometimes maybe in your graduation studies or somewhere you would have seen optional questions, appear 3 out of 4 questions. It's not like that. All the questions are going to be mandatory. Okay. Significant numerical element, as I told you, up to 50 marks. But there's need to demonstrate understanding of the meaning and limitations of the numerical analysis. So as I told you that you are expected to be the CFO of a company or reporting to the CFO of the company. So it's not just calculations that you are doing. You need to do the calculations and support it with the understanding that you carry about them. Are you able to follow me? I'll come to that. I'll come to time management. Don't worry. Everything is covered. Okay. So as I told you, you don't just have to do the calculations. You have to support it with the understanding that you carry. Next is questions are scenario based. Okay. So like I showed you, Adroit company example. First, they will tell you what Adroit company is doing, what industry it is in, what is its, relevant things like what is its financial performance, like everything. It will be given to you. It will be specific to that company. Okay, so questions are scenario based. I told you now, they will not ask you questions like what is NPV, what is IRR. You need to be aware about these concepts to be able to answer those scenario based questions properly. Okay, next, adopts the role of a senior financial advisor in taking decisions concerning the financial management of an organization. Okay, so you have to understand, you have to put yourself in the shoes of a CFO. What if I were the CFO of this company? How will I think? Okay, so you have to adopt that role, then only you will be able to answer your questions properly. Is everything in this slide clear to you? Any doubt, anything you're not able to understand? I will address some of your questions later in the slides which I've told you specifically. But everything here, are you able to understand? Clear? Perfect. Perfect. Thanks for the confirmation. Now, coming to the exam format. Very, very important. Listen to this very carefully. So, all topics are examinable. It's not like, till the last date of the exam, some students will be asking me, ma'am, what is the important topic? Is there a mandatory topic that, it will get tested? There is nothing. All topics are examinable, and everything is unpredictable. You cannot, I'm telling you again, please don't try to find patterns from the past papers. Like this concept came in September 23 attempt, I'm sure it will not come in December 23 attempt. Wrong interpretation. It never happens. Same concept can get tested twice. So you cannot predict what is going to come and what is not going to come. Everything is examinable. Okay, so you will, as I told you, you will have 3 questions, question number 1, 2, and 3, and 2 sections, section A and section B. So section A has the first question, which I told you it's of a report format. I showed you also. So question 1, it will be of a report format and carries 50 marks, out of which 10 marks are going to be professional marks. Now, what is professional marks? I will address that. It is covered in the later slide. Okay, so 10 marks now. There will not be any specific question for this 10 marks to score this 10 marks. These 10 marks you will earn on the basis of what you are writing for the balance 40 marks. How well you are able to analyze, how well you are able to communicate, what is your level of business understanding. All of that will be judged for 10 marks here. I'll come to that in specific slides, but just to give you a gist, there is no specific question which helps you earn this 10 mark. It will be based on what you are writing for the balance 40 marks. Okay, so similarly, question number 1, question number 2 and 3 also have professional marks. So each of these 25 mark questions have 5 marks. Out of these, 25 marks, 5 marks will be your professional marks, and 20 marks you'll have to write something, maybe some calculations or theory, whatever it is. So you'll be writing the answers for 20 marks and here for 40 marks. So basically out of 100 marks, don't think it is a 120 mark paper, it is a 100 mark paper. Out of the 100 marks, 20 marks is professional marks. You get that for free if you're writing your answers very well. It's a free mark, I'm telling you. Remember it like this, that it is a free mark if answer to your balance questions is very good. Okay, so total is 100 marks. Out of 100 marks, 20 marks is professional marks. What is professional marks? I will cover that in detail, but as I told you, it will be about the quality of your answer. Right? Yes, 80 marks you will be writing on paper, Chandan. 20 marks are hidden. You are absolutely right. It is hidden in the quality of your answers. And that is what you have to work on, right? With the classes. So I'll tell you how it goes. Like whenever we are, practicing in the class, if there is a particular question, I'm telling to you that, practice, solve this question in the next 10 minutes, 15 minutes. I will have a look at your answers. You can share your answers with me. Okay, and in this way, we'll be able to understand what your progress. I'll give you your feedback, that this is, you are doing well, this is right, this is wrong, whatever. So in this way, you will continuously keep on improving the quality of your answers with the classes. So remember, save it for yourself, the type of answers you were writing in the first few classes versus what you will be writing in the coming classes. You yourself will see a dramatic, big shift in the quality of your answers. Okay, so coming back, total 3 questions. be with me. Any doubt if you have, just feel free to ask it to me. Either I'll tell you or I'll tell you that it will come later. So as I told you, the part of professional marks will come later. We'll park that for the timing. Total 3 questions, 50 marks, 25 marks, 25 marks. Out of 50, 10 marks is professional. Out of each of the 25 marks, 5 marks each is for professional marks. And all topics are examinable, nothing important, nothing less important. Anything can be tested in the exam. However, there are 2 topics which are mandatorily tested. You know, these topics, something out of these topics will come in the exam. Maybe in section A, maybe in section B, but these 2 topics now, cream of the syllabus, I'll tell you. I personally love teaching these topics. It's very interesting. And I'll tell you, I have made it so standardized because, see, it is a mandatory topic in exam. Something out of this can come. So I've made it so standardized that if you're able to follow it, you will definitely get the marks. And same layout, same structure for all the questions. You know, I'm telling you, speak to your peers who are not taking coaching. They'll tell you, ma'am, we are struggling. You know, or they'll tell you they're struggling with this topic. But I'm guaranteeing you, with the type of standardization we have done in the class, you will be excelling at this. But of course, you have to be regular. You have to listen to be able to implement those formats in the class, right? In the exam also. So these 2 topics, section B and E, will come to all of these chapters later on. Section B and E are mandatorily tested. Section B is covered in our chapter number 3 to 7. And section E will be covered in chapter 11 to 13 of the syllabus. Now I'm sure next question, ma'am, how many chapters? I'm surprised no question hasn't come so far. So total there are 16 chapters, okay, of different lengths. So total 16 chapters, and we'll have around 20-21 classes together, right? So for completing all of these chapters and also for the practice that we are going to do. Right, so section B covered in chapter 3 to 7 and section E covered in chapters 11 to 13. So total there are 16 chapters in the syllabus. Now, very important, you can attempt the questions in whatever order you feel like. Okay, so I'll be telling you the tips how to, you know, deal with these 100 marks in exam. You know, I'll come to that, but please understand, you can attempt it in any order. You want to attempt question number 2 first, you can do that. You want to attempt question number 1 first, you can do that. It's on you. Okay. And lastly, read the requirement carefully. I showed you the requirement page now when I was showing you the question layout. Read the requirement carefully. I'm telling you, with all the experience, so many students, you know, they are ultra clear in the concepts. You know, ma'am, I know it, I can solve it. And they have shown good performance in the class also. But you know what mistake happens in exam? You are in a hurry. You tend to be, you know, some bit of nervousness is there. You know, you're a little panicky about the situation. You don't read the requirement carefully. You assume, you know, that this is what would be expected. Let me just quickly write it down. Don't ever make that mistake. Read the requirement first and then draft your answer. Answer what is asked. Don't answer what you know. Maybe the examiner is not asking you what you know. He's asking you something else about that concept. So make sure. I know it will seem like, ma'am, why are you telling such basic things? Obviously, I will read the question. I'm telling you, with experienced students, just see a particular topic and they'll start writing about it. And the requirement is asking you to do something else. So read the requirement carefully. Okay. So Ram, the mandatory chapters are section B and E, and that is covered in chapter 3 to 7 and chapter 11 to 13. The total chapters will be 16, and out of this 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 5 chapters here, and 11, 12, 13, 3 chapters here. 8 chapters out of total 16 chapters that we're going to do, they are going to be mandatorily tested in exam. One, of course, not all 8, one out of any of these topics could be tested. So these are mandatory chapters. You should be absolutely clear with this. Okay. Are you with me so far? From this slide, anything that you have not understood? Very important things I'm discussing here. It is about your exam. So make sure you're clear. Any doubt, smallest of the doubt, feel free to ask it to me. Clear? Perfect. Perfect. Now we are going to talk about professional skills. So as I told you, professional skills I'm going to cover later. Now we are going to cover those professional skills. Anyone, if you feel that you want me to revisit anything from the past slide, just let me know. We will go back and study it. If you want me to go slow on a particular topic, let me know. We'll go slow on it. Okay. I'm going with my normal pace. If you feel that you are not able to follow that speed, feel free to tell me. We can slow it down and complete our syllabus. Don't worry about that. Okay. So there are 4 professional skills. I showed you that line now. Professional skills of commercial acumen, analysis will be tested. So total 4 professional skills are going to be there. Okay. Gaurav has a doubt which section we should start first, section A or B. Okay. I will address that question, but I'll give you a hint. When you are starting off with the exam, see, total you have 3 or 15 minutes, right? You have how many minutes in total if I'm talking about? 195 minutes, 3 hours is 180 and 15 minutes is 15. So 180 plus 15, you have total 195 minutes in the exam. And you have to appear how many marks? 100 marks. I'm just giving you a hint. I have it covered in the later part also. Since you have a doubt, I'll just tell it to you. Normally I recommend my students to spend the first 15 minutes to just read the questions very, very quickly. Not in-depth reading per se, like you're understanding what all numbers are there. But those skim reading, very quickly you're trying to understand what concept has been tested in that question. Spend your first 10-15 minutes over there. Okay. It might so happen that the concept that you know the best. For example, by the time we are done with the classes, you become champion at futures and options question. So if you realize that future and option has been tested in section A, go for section A first. If you find out that your core topic, what you feel you're very good at, it is coming in section B, section B first. So that should be the strategy. I will be covering it in detail, but just to tell you a hint, how you have to manage your time out of the total, it's not told by ACCA that you spend the first 15 minutes reading. It's a recommendation from my side. First 10-15 minutes, just skim read the questions to understand which concept has been tested in which question. And then decide the order in your mind that, I am best at futures and options. Whichever question is coming from that topic, I will appear that first. Next, my lesser favorite topic. Next, my least favorite topic. So this is the order which you should be following in exam. Is it clear, Gaurav? All right, perfect. So coming back to professional skills. So as I told you that there are going to be 4 professional skills and are worth how many marks? 20 marks in the exam. So a brief summary of each skill is given below. Now let us understand each one of these skills now. Okay. So as I told you, one more thing I have forgotten to tell. So total class durations from 10 a.m. to 2:30 p.m. I give a 20-minute, 20-25-minute break in between. So normally around 12:15, we'll take a small break. You can also refresh yourself. So a 20-minute break we normally have in our class, right? Okay. So there are 4 professional skills. Number 1 is communication. See, imagine yourself to be at the senior most position in the company and your communication skills are not good. What would you do? So ACCA ensures that you develop your communication skills. Now, when I say communication skills, it's not talking skills. It's about how well you are able to put across your point in your reports. Okay. So communication is a skill which is tested normally in always section A question, that is 50-mark question. Communication skills, because they see how well you are able to draft your reports. Are you giving proper headings, or are your conclusions to the point, or is it a confusing report? Communication is a skill that you need to develop as you grow up in the corporate ladders, right? So communication means to express yourself clearly and convincingly. As I told you, you have to ensure that you're able to deliver your point across the table with your report. Okay, so to express yourself clearly and convincingly through an appropriate medium. Now that medium for the purpose of your exam is what? Your reports. You can't be talking in the exam, so it's the written communication that gets tested while being sensitive to the needs of the intended audience. Now, please remember, when you are writing the report, you have to understand to whom you are writing. See, you will know for a fact the way you talk to your friends versus the way you talk to your mother, the way you talk to your father, the way you talk to your teacher. All of that is different, right? You do that subconsciously, right? You do not think that, I'm talking to my mother, I have to talk in this tone. Subconsciously that click happens, and you talk to a mother like that, you talk to your father like that, right? You know what is happening subconsciously? You talk in a way that the listening person understands your thoughts, right? Understands you, right? So you always have to remember who is your target audience. Now when I'm taking my classes here, I have to bring myself to the level of you, so that I know what I am speaking, you will be able to understand. See, if I start talking extremely in technical terms, you'll be like, ma'am, what are you talking? I'm not able to understand. But currently, at this point, you are able to understand me because I am articulating it in a way that you, at your level, are able to understand what I'm saying. But if I start talking in technical terms, which you are not even aware of, but I am a very good orator, I'm talking very well, I'm talking in technical terms. But if my audience is not able to understand me, what good use is it? Okay. So inform the target audience using clear format. You have to know who your audience is, and your format needs to be very good. I'll be sharing tips on formatting things also. Not now, maybe, it's just very soon to tell you all of this. But when we would have practiced a lot of questions, what the format of the report should be like. Those very simple tips. It's not like rocket science that I'm going to tell you, do this, do that. Very simple tricks which you can incorporate in your answers that will help you get those professional marks for communication skills. Okay. So coming back, be aware of your target audience. Who are you writing to? Are you writing to the board of directors? Are you writing to the shareholders? Are you writing to the managing director of the company? So you have to know who your audience is. Okay. Second point, persuade with logical argument. Persuade means convince. So convince with logical argument. See, we as finance professionals now, we have all the right to say no. Okay, no, this expense is not approved. But always remember, for your corporate life also, you have to manage your stakeholders well. Okay, so persuade the person with logical arguments so that he also understands from your viewpoint. Okay, so convince with logical argument, not just a blatant no, that no means no. You have to explain it, you have to give that argument supporting your decision, be it yes or no, whatever it is. I was giving the example, but you have to give that argument so that the other person doesn't feel offended that why is the answer yes or no. Okay. Next, appropriate use of technology. Now, technology will be, to be able to write it in proper formats in Word or in Excel, whatever. So you have to use the technology properly, whatever, formula is available to you. Like I was showing it to you, some product, I was showing you NPV. So whatever available formula you have, use it properly. That helps you get the communication marks. Clear? So what is communication? Being able to articulate yourself, being able to express yourself in a way that the audience gets convinced with your argument. Clear? Very simply put. Next professional skill is commercial acumen. Now, what is commercial acumen? Very simply put, business understanding. Okay. So, like, I have commercial acumen in FMCG, in Alcobev, in e-commerce. That is the business understanding I have got with my practical experience. I'll come to that. But, you know, if you're working good, if you're not working, read business papers, Economic Times, subscribe to it if you're reading it on your phone or, physical form, whatever. Start reading about businesses. In fact, ACCA also publishes, it has an app, Student Accountant. Download that app. You get to know about the international affairs. Commercial acumen is nothing but being practical in your approach. That what you're writing in your answers, it's not just valid in theory, but practically also it is implementable. That you can implement the points that you're saying. So commercial acumen is about having that business understanding and being able to deal with the problems practically. Okay. So to show awareness, look at this, to show awareness of the wider business and external factors affecting business. And use commercially sound judgment. You have to be practical. Don't write anything theoretically which you feel it's only theoretically it's possible, but practically you cannot implement it. So do not write answer like that. Use commercially sound judgment and insight to resolve issues and exploit opportunities. Okay. So commercial acumen is showing business awareness and dealing with problems with commercial judgment. You're not being emotional. You have business understanding and you're writing logical arguments to deal with the problem practically. Okay. So 3 aspects of each professional skill. What is the aspects for commercial acumen? Practical consideration. You consider a problem practically. Second, recognize constraints. Constraints meaning what? Limitations. Like if you are writing a suggestion, but you know that it is having some limitations, you need to put that across also. Right? It is possible, like a statement like it is possible that this may have this impact. It needs to be considered in the answers. That will help you get commercial acumen because it shows the examiner that you're practical in your approach. You have business awareness. So, everyone I would suggest, please start reading business papers, get an idea of the different industries. It could be anything. It could be oil and marketing companies, it could be tech companies, anything. Make yourself aware. The more aware you are, your mind opens up. So don't restrict yourself to just bookish knowledge. Have a bigger horizon where you can, read a lot, implement these things in your answers also. Okay. Awareness of alternative opportunities to those suggested. I'll tell you frankly, in finance, it's not about right or wrong. There could be like accounting entry, SBR, the strategy business reporting. You have IFRS and you have to implement that IFRS and solving. So it is a very clear-cut way that IFRS is saying something and you have to write it. Okay, and that is what you have to follow while you're passing accounting entries. It's very clear-cut. But finance is not like that. That this is only right and this is only wrong. There is a bit of a gray area too. So if you have come up with a particular solution, it is possible that there is an alternative solution possible for that also. So it is important that you are aware of alternative opportunities to those suggested. You could write that debt equity ratio could also be computed using XY formula. We'll learn all of it. So you need to show that you are aware about this. Maybe you're not written it in your answer, but that you are aware that there is a possibility of something happening another way that is applicable, of course. If it is applicable to your question, you need to write it in your answer. Please tell me, are you able to follow me? We have covered 2 skills out of 4, communication and commercial acumen. Is it clear so far? Yes? Perfect. Salman, did you get the clarity? So you mentioned non-financial factors, but did you understand what commercial acumen is? It is about business understanding, right? Next. Third is analysis and evaluation. So as I told you, it's not just about how good you are at calculation. It is about how well you are able to understand the data and implement it. Because it is not, because calculations now, you can do it. See, you have help of Google today, you have help of Excel, calculator. You will find a way to do the calculations. But to be able to analyze the results, to be able to solve it in your specific case, what is applicable to you, that is about analysis and evaluation. Okay, so Chandan has a doubt, so the alternative solution has to in line with the questions, or we can suggest the others as well, basis business understanding and practical experience. It has to be in line with question scenario. So as I said, as may be applicable. So alternative solution may not be applicable in your case, so you don't have to write something there. But if you feel, as per the question scenario, that basis the available data or basis the available facts that are given in the question, that this is something also which could be done, then you can write. You don't have to write something out of the box. I'm not trying to make the paper complicated for you. It's just to tell you how you can score these marks on the basis of the available information. Okay. All right. So third is analysis and evaluation. Let's read what is given. To appraise information objectively, you have to be unbiased. You can't be biased while you're writing reports to senior leadership. You can't get emotional things coming in between your communication. So to appraise, to analyze the information objectively without any type of just one second. Yeah. So you have to appraise the information objectively and to draw logical conclusions out of it, recognize the impact on relevant stakeholders. Okay. So you do it objectively without any biasness, draw conclusions out of that analysis. What do you infer? What do you conclude from the analysis that you have done? That the company should do X or the company should do Y. Drawing logical conclusions, recognizing the impact on relevant stakeholders. So who all will get impacted because of your decision? That is something you need to be clear about, right? So analysis and evaluation is about to appraise information objectively and to draw logical conclusions, recognizing the impact on relevant stakeholders. Now, what is the aspect that you need to be aware about? Consider the meaning of data. NPV is 1000. Okay. Now, how do you interpret it that the NPV is positive and hence the project should be undertaken by the company? That is what you have concluded out of it. You have analyzed the data. You have got the meaning that it is a positive NPV, therefore a good sign. That is the meaning of data. And you're telling that, apply that analysis to the company in the question, that the company should do this or that, whatever your recommendation is. And then while you are recommending something, you need to assess the impact on the stakeholders. Now, if I undertake a positive NPV project, I need to know that it will create wealth for the shareholders. That is what impact on the stakeholders. Are you able to follow me? So analysis and evaluation is about what is the data that you have got and how do you interpret it? What is the impact on the different stakeholders? How do you apply it to the question scenario? That is how you get or score analysis and evaluation marks. See, I told you very first thing that there is no special question for these 20 marks. It's about how you're writing the balance 80 marks. So in your answer for those 80 marks, have you been able to assess the impact on the stakeholders? Have you been able to analyze the data correctly? That is what will fetch you marks for analysis and evaluation. Next is skepticism. Now, skepticism is You would have learned, have a skeptical attitude. See, okay, I tell you today that, sun rises in the west. You say, okay, ma'am is saying it's okay, correct. It is not right. You are finance professionals. You need to have a questioning attitude. Ma'am, why do you think sun rises in the west? Who told you? You're probing me. You're asking me, have a questioning attitude. Don't just accept everything that is told to you. You'll become fools, I'm telling you. People will come and fool you in corporates if you are just taking everything on its word value. So understand why, how, what. That is skepticism. So I'll tell you how it is relevant for your questions. So sometimes in question it will be given that the sales director feels that this is the right approach. Some sort of a statement will be given to you. You have to have a probing attitude. Why you feel it is not right, or why you feel it is right. So to probe, now look at the explanation. What does skepticism mean? To probe, question, and challenge information and views presented to you. You have to be aware of the true facts to be able to contest or challenge on something wrong that is presented to you, right? So to probe, question, and challenge information and views presented to you, to fully understand business issues and to establish facts objectively. So you have to be unbiased throughout. So you understand the business issues and establish facts objectively based on ethical and professional values. You have to be ethical. You can't be lying in the report. Okay. So skepticism is about having a questioning attitude, having to challenge the information that is given to you. For example, if it is given that this will be the impact on the share price or XYZ, whatever. So you feel it is not right. So you have to explain it, that why a particular statement given in the question is not right. Okay, so to skepticism means to have a probing attitude, to probe, question, and challenge information and views presented to you, to fully understand business issues and to establish facts objectively based on ethical and professional values. Now, what are the three aspects that you need to be aware about? Question the validity. So I gave you an example that the sales director feels so and so. Question it. Or for example, they have computed an NPV and they have given it to you directly in the question. You question whether the approach that was followed while calculating the NPV, was it right or wrong? You do not have the visibility. So writing those statements will get you mark. That you're not accepting everything on its face value. You know something definitely, then only you're able to question, cross-questioning it. Okay? Challenge opinions. Identify new information needed. Very, very important, huh? So you're given some data. A lot of different facts are given to you. But to arrive at a judicious decision, sorry, you feel that a particular information is missing in the question. Write that down. That had this particular information been available, we would have been able to make a more judicious call. I'm giving you an example. It will obviously differ from question to question. But if there is any missing information, you need to be able to identify the lack of it. Okay, that it's not like only if something is given to you, that is only the universe that exists. There could be some things which are not given to you in the question and you need to highlight it. Are we clear? Please tell me, analysis and evaluation skepticism, are they clear to you? Are you able to understand what is expected of you when a particular skill is getting tested? Please take your time and let me know. All the 4 skills. Now, quickly tell me what all are the 4 skills? What all are the 4 skills? Communication, commercial acumen, analysis, and skepticism. Communication is something which normally gets tested in section A. The rest 3 skills, now they can be tested in section A also, section B also, because communication per se is about how you are able to communicate, and only section A question has a report question. So mostly 90% of the cases you will see that it is getting tested in section A only, not in section B and C. Sorry, section B, question number 2 and 3. Right? So let us quickly summarize what is each one of the skills. Communication is about logical argument in a clear format. Okay. Commercial acumen is showing practical view of the business scenario. Right? Number 3, analysis and evaluation. Interpret the meaning of the calculations and assess the impact on the stakeholders. Skepticism is questioning, challenging the opinions, and identifying missing information. That is about skepticism. So all of those 4 skills, very simply put, that is how you can understand. Now, as I told you, professional skills marks should not be thought of as being separate from the technical contents of an answer. They are earned by providing comprehensive and relevant responses. As I told you, how you are writing those 80 marks, that is what will make you earn the professional marks. So they are earned by providing comprehensive and relevant responses to the technical requirements of a question. Clear? So that is about the professional skills. So all of the professional skills will be examined in section A. All 4 gets tested in section A, which is a single 50-mark case study. 10 out of the 50 marks will be allocated to demonstrating the professional skills. Yes, we know that now. Section B will consist of 2 compulsory scenario-based 25-mark questions. Each section B question will allocate 5 marks to professional skills. So 10 marks in total will be available for professional skills in section B. Each section B will contain a minimum of 2 professional skills from the rest of the 3. See. So each one of the section B questions now, there will be minimum 2, maximum 3 skills. And what will be those skills? Analysis and evaluation, skepticism, and commercial acumen. So I'm telling you, ultimately the students, they don't give 20 marks the due importance, and that is where they tend to lose marks. You don't do that mistake. If a particular skill is getting tested, for example, if skepticism is getting tested, give its due importance, show that questioning attitude, show that you have identified that there is missing information, display it in your answer. It is a guiding stick for writing your answer. Please understand that the professional skills which are being tested is a guiding stick on how well you are drafting your answer, right? So make sure you give the professional skills their due importance, because understand it is 20 marks. It's not small number. See, there was a time then when only 2 to 4 marks was allotted to professional skills. But recently, ACCA increased it. So when I appeared for it, it was just 2 marks of professional skills and the 50-mark question. So you had to write a lot and only 2 marks were getting tested for professional skills. But now imagine how much importance ACCA is giving to these skills. They want you to develop these skills. That is why they are giving so much of marks attribution to these professional skills. Okay. So that's about it. Next, we'll come to exam success skills. Let's do one thing. Let's take a break now. I just want to give you some time to absorb. A lot of information is flowing today. So just take some time. It's 11:55. We'll take a 20-minute break. Around 12:15, we will catch you. Okay? So take a small break, eat something, refresh yourself, and then we'll come back and then understand what are the exam success skills, what you need to do to get those maximum marks, right? So let's take a break now and we'll continue on this topic after the break. Around 12:15, we'll catch up, right? Hello everyone, welcome back from the break. Let's start off our discussion on exam success skills, okay? So let us understand what we have here. First of all, it will be about managing information, right? So as I showed you, there will be a lot of data, a lot of exhibits, a lot of requirements. So the important skill which you need to develop, which we will develop together in the class, it will be about managing information, okay? So questions in the exam will present you with a lot of information. The skill is how you handle this information to make the best use of your time. Say time is limited, you have 15 minutes and you have to address all such long questions. The key is determining how you will approach the exam and then actively reading the questions. Okay, so first you have to get habituated with this much data. When you will be practicing the questions from the PR kit, you will understand. You will develop this gradually. It will not happen overnight. How you have to mark the important stuff, important lines from the question, which is going to be helpful. Okay, one very very important thing is that you have the feature. Let me show it to you also here. One second. This is the exam question, right? Let me tell you, you can copy. For example, I want to copy this line. For example, okay, I want to copy this. Press Control C, and I want to make, I want to draft my answer somewhere around this point. I press Control V. You can copy the data from the question in your answer script. Same goes for Word file also. If I want to paste it here, it will work. And this is, I have copied some word part, sometimes in question, like some of the exhibits themselves will be given to you as an Excel file. Okay, so you can directly copy all the calculations from the Excel directly in your answer script. Okay, and could you please show again from where you open the formula sheet available in the question itself? Okay, so did you understand what I was saying? You can copy the contents from the question. So you find something relevant, maybe that the capital of the company is this much. Instead of typing it down, you copy it and paste it here. Don't be worried about writing something that is easily given to you in the exam. So make use of this functionality. Although I'm telling this to you today, remember it throughout your preparation, because I have heard some students telling me, ma'am, the question was too lengthy. And then I asked them, did you copy that Excel working which the question had given you in the exam in the spreadsheet answer script? They say no. So if you're wasting your time writing something that is easily available to you, copy it now. Why do you have to type it? You're wasting your time. How will you pass otherwise? Because you have to write for those 100 marks in 195 minutes only. You'll not get extra time. Right? So please remember, you can copy stuff from the questions, exhibits also, and you can paste it in your answer script. Now, where is the formula sheet? Have a look here. So this is the format. You'll see this help button down here. Click on help. And then, these three tabs will be open. By default, workplace help will be coming up. You click on formula sheet. This is the formula sheet. Himanshu, have a look. These all formula will be available. You will be learning about these formula later in the classes. And then the exam instructions are over here. 3 hours 15 minutes, end exam, all of that. So basically, end exam is nothing but, so if you have attempted all the answers, you click on next. Now section B question comes up. You have to scroll down till the bottom to be able to move to the next screen. Next. Then you have attempted this question also, Redwood Company. You click on next. You're done. You click on next. This will be the final review that will be coming. And you click on end exam. Now, once you click on end exam, I ask you again, are you sure you want to end the exam? Because if you end the exam, you'll not be able to attempt this particular exam again. So you click on yes. Are you sure? Again, they're asking yes. Then only your exam gets over. Okay. So whatever you're typing, it gets saved automatically, but you have to end the exam on time. So make sure you end it like this. And then when you're done, exit. Clear? So coming back. So questions in the exam will present you a lot of information. The skill is how you handle this information to make the best use of your time. The key is determining. Then also it gets submitted. But ideal way is to, in the last few 15-20 seconds, close it and end the exam. It gets submitted, but end it. The suggestion would be to end the exam yourself. All right. So the skill is how you handle this information to make the best use of your time. The key is determining how you will approach the exam and then actively reading the question. Okay. Now, how do you manage this information? So this is a problem statement that you have to manage so much information. Now, how do you manage? How do you develop the skill? So to avoid being overwhelmed, see, once when you see such long questions for the first time, it is very natural. I'm telling you, when you see the PR kit, you will get overwhelmed. Like, oh my God, do I have to study so much such long questions? So to avoid being overwhelmed by the quantity of information provided, you must take an active approach to reading the question. Now, theory aside, let me tell you what it means. Okay, read this paragraph, we'll understand. Active reading means focusing on the question's requirement first. Now, this is a rule which we are going to follow throughout our classes. Whenever we come across a question, please make sure you read the requirement first. What it means is you do not start with reading the exhibits and then you come to the requirements. What it is saying is you read the requirement first, highlighting key verbs. What it means, have a look. Let me show it to you in the question itself. So when you look at the requirement, there are some question verbs which you will see. What is the question verb here? Read the requirement. Discuss the feasibility and effectiveness of the defense strategies of selling off individual retail kiosks and enhancing directors' remuneration. Can you tell me what is the question verb? What is the question verb? What does the question want you to do? What does the question want you to do? Discuss. Absolutely right. No, very specifically, Himanshu, I'm telling you what is the question verb. The question verb is discuss. Here, it is a prepare a report, estimates. So this is about calculation. Estimates, calculation, estimates, calculation. Again, last one, discuss the impact on Adroit's cost of capital and the reaction of equity and bondholders. Right? You identify what is it that you're asked to do. Read the requirement first, highlighting the question verb. Right? You highlight these. Discusses. Then again, this is also a discuss question. Discuss the approach taken to employee remuneration by Adroit companies Northern region and the issues associated with. Again, it is about discussing things. Now, let us see what is the requirement in question number 2. Here, you can make use of navigator button also. Like if you want to quickly just jump to question number 3 directly from question number 1, you can go to this like this. You have to scroll down, then you can do anything. Question number 3. Requirements. Let's have a look at it. Now look at the question verb here. Advise. You have to give an advice in this question. Okay. Here it is about discuss. Discuss. So mark the question verbs first. Okay. Now let us look at the question verbs in question number 2 also. Read the requirements first. Always. Estimates. Estimate means calculate. Here, this is what explain the difference between APV and NDV's methods of investment appraisal and comment on the circumstances under which APV might be a better method of evaluating an NPV. So it is about explaining and then commenting. Again, here also it is about explaining. And then professional skills will be awarded in analysis, skepticism, and commercial acumen in your answer. So this is how your requirements will be structured. So what it is saying is, active reading means focusing on the question's requirements first highlighting key verbs such as evaluate, analyze, explain, discuss, highlighting them to ensure you answer the question properly. If it is an estimates question and you start writing analysis in it, you will not get marks. Because very specifically, I've told you, address the question's requirement carefully. So if it is asking you to estimate, you will not get the marks for discussing in it. Then when you have an understanding of what the question will require you to do, read the rest of the question. Rest of the question meaning now you read the exhibits, highlighting important and relevant information and making notes of any relevant technical information you think you will need. Now tell me, when you're reading an exhibit and you find an important statement, what will you do? You have found some important data. What will you do? Tell me, what are options do you have? Very good. Highlight it. First, there are multiple options. Let me tell you. Either you highlight it or you copy it and paste it in Scratchpad or response options. If you want to copy and paste it, where will you paste it? Scratchpad or response options? Paste it in response options so that you can refer it in one place where you're going to draft your main answers. Avoid using Scratchpad. It is available to you. It's like a rough page that is available to you, but you can write it in the main answer script only and then you can delete it. Okay. So whenever you see something important in the question, either you highlight it or you copy that sentence and paste it in the Excel or the Word file. Okay. Yes, Ashish, you can have the sample answers for the mock paper. I will tell you how. Okay. So let's just complete this first and then I'll address your question. So active reading is when you read the requirement first, you highlight the question verb, what is the question asking you to do, and then you read the exhibits, highlighting the relevant stuff, or you can copy and paste those sentences in the answer script itself. So that is the first exam success skill. What is it about? How to manage information. Now, when you are managing information, what is it that you need to remember? Read the requirement first, highlighting the question verb. Then you read the exhibits, highlighting the important things there, and then copying, pasting it in the answer script if needed. That is how you manage the big information that is there in the questions. So is it clear? First skill. Is it clear? Yes? Perfect. Just give me 1 second. Yeah. So first skill is done. Let's move to the next one. Exam success skill 2. And what is it? That font showing differently in exam. No. Okay, for that I'll show you a trick. If it is happening for you, have a look here. So for example, I'm copying this. Control C. I come to the spreadsheet. I press Control V. It is not getting working. You press double click and then you paste it. The font will be same. Try this out, Ram. Double click on the cell where you want to put it. Double click. It gets active. It gets highlighted. Now you paste it. Check if you're able to do it now. Is it fine? Differently. For me, it is coming same. How is it possible? This is the normal font that is there. Font style. What do you mean by font style? They just have one font style. It's not like they are supporting also multiple fonts. I'm not sure what is happening. Try it now on your practice platform, Ram, and I'll tell you the best trick to do it. If it happens ever, just double click on this cell wherever you want to paste it, press Control V. The font will be off the sheet, not of the exhibit. Now it's coming now. Now what is coming, like original font or the sheet font? Exhibit font or the sheet font? Sheet font is there, no? Then it's fine. So normally it should be like this only. I'm not sure why it happened, because even if I'm like pressing normally also now Control V, then also it is copying in the same font. And if I double click and then put the data, then also it is coming in the same font. See, both of them are same. So ideally it should not happen, but if it does happen, then try the double click trick, it will work. Not sure why it happened. Maybe some tech glitch or something. But try. Did you try with double click there, Ram? Or did you just paste it? Not sure why it would have happened. But normally I've not heard this problem coming, because it could be a glitch. But normally it will get pasted, because see now, they are not even supporting different fonts here. You don't have font styles to change, like you can do Calibri or you can do Arial. It's not there. So it shouldn't be the case, but if it has happened, try with double click, because normally it will work. Alright, coming back. Second one is correct interpretation of the requirement. Now what it means is, okay, Saroj has given a very good recommendation, something which is not available on the practice platform. See, so Saroj is telling that in the exam, you will get the option of reset. Is this what you're saying, Saroj? Reset button, it will delete everything. If there is an option in the exam for reset of font, then that is different. This reset will delete everything. Don't use it. Reset, Saroj is specifically telling there is a reset font option which is available in the exam screen. So you can check that out. But don't use this one. Huh? This one will reset entire everything. I mean, see, I clicked on reset and whatever was written here, it got deleted. It's not available over here. Yes, Saroj. Okay. Yes. So let's come back here. So correct interpretation of the requirements. Now the active verb used often dictates the approach that written answers should take. So now that you have understood that you have to explain something, you have to discuss something. So the active verb used often dictates the approach that written answers should take. Example, explain, discuss, evaluate. It is important you identify and use the verb to define your approach. The correct interpretation of the requirement skill means correctly producing only what is being asked for by a requirement. So as I told you, if the exam verb or the question verb is estimate, don't start discussing. And if it is about discussing, discuss, right? So anything not required will not earn marks. So as I told you, if it is an estimate question and you start discussing in it, you will not get marks for the discussion. You are wasting your precious exam time. Now, how do we develop this skill? So what is the problem statement? The problem is, how do you interpret the requirement correctly? So what is the advice here? So number one skill step is what? You read the requirement. Firstly, read the requirement a couple of times slowly and carefully and highlight the active verbs. Discuss, estimate, whatever. Use the active verbs to define what you plan to do. Make sure you identify any sub-requirements within a requirement. This is often signaled by the use of the word and within a requirement. Although it's a very generic statement, I'll tell you it has a lot of implications. Sometimes in exam, you will see that a particular requirement, it has discuss, like one was just what we saw. Let me show it to you again here. It was there in question number 1. See, discusses the impact on Android company's cost of capital, and very important, so you have to discuss the impact on cost of capital. And number 2, there is a sub requirement, hidden sub requirement. A lot of students, you know what, they'll just address the first part of the question and be done with it. But please understand that 10 marks is for complete requirement solutioning, not just any part of it. So discuss the impact on Android company's cost of capital and the reaction of equity and bondholders to the CEO's proposal. So there are 2 parts of this question. The discussion should include an explanation of any assumption made in the estimates B1 to B4. So there are multiple parts of this requirement. So you need to address all the requirements to get complete marks. Am I clear? So what it is saying is basically you have to make sure you identify any sub-requirements within a requirement. And this is often signaled by the use of the word and within a requirement. Now, what are the important active verbs that you need to be aware about? So we see, right? Like discuss, explain, estimates. So more or less, these are the words which you will come across. These are the question verbs which you will come across in the AFM paper. Let's go through them, right? One by one. Like if it is asking you to advise, what do you need to write? If it is asking you to analyze, what should be your guiding strategy? Let us understand that. So number 1, we have advice. One of the questions even asked you now, advice. So this requires you to provide full information. See, you might be thinking, ma'am, why are we discussing all of this today? Because I want all of you to practice all the questions right from day 1 as if you are writing for the exam. And you need to be aware all these nitty-gritties. Because if you start reading it generally, like as if you're reading a storybook, you will not be able to prepare yourself for the exam. Now, when I've specifically told you all of these things, like if it is asking you to advise what you need to write in your answer, if it is asking you to discuss then what you need to write in your answer, then your mind will get structured in that way. And when the real exam question comes, you will address directly. So that is the reason I'm covering all of this in the first class, because after this class, when we get into the solutioning or, get into the chapters directly, you are aware about these requirements, which is expected of you in the exam, and address the answers appropriately. Okay. So the first exam verb or the question verb is advise. Now, this requires you to provide someone with useful information or to tell them what you think they should do based on a consideration of the issues presented in a scenario. Okay. So you have to advise, you have to tell what that other person should do on the basis of the data given in the scenario or in the exhibits. Now, that is number 1. Number 2 is analyze. This requires, so exam verb, first one is advise, and what you need to do, you need to tell someone what they should do on the basis of the data available. Second type of exam verb that could come is analyze. This requires you to break an issue into separate parts and discuss, examine, or interpret each part. This may require you to give reasons for the current situation or what has happened. So an analyze requires you to understand what has happened. If a question is asking you to analyze, it means, something, the current situation is, giving, you need to tell why it has happened. That is analyze. So what does it mean? This may require you to give reasons for the current situation and what has happened. Third Third type of exam verb that could come is apply. What does apply mean? This requires you to put a concept. So you will be learning about a lot of concepts in the class. So for example, NPV, APV concept. So if the question verb is apply, then you will have to apply the concept of NPV, APV in solving the question's requirement. Okay, by applying it to the scenario in a relevant way. So apply means you know the concept. Yes, very good. You apply it to the scenario. Okay, so that is apply. Number 4 is assess. This requires you to judge the importance or estimate the nature, quality, or significance of an issue. Assess. You would have heard that, whenever there is an insurance claim, for example, there is an assessor which comes and assesses the situation, right? To understand what is the claim amount that should be disbursed or passed. So what is assess? Assessment. It requires you to judge the importance or estimate the nature, quality, or significance of an issue. You assess what is the gravity of the issue, what is the importance of the issue. If there is an accident which has happened, like if I'm giving you insurance assessor's example, so the assessor comes and understands what is the gravity of the accident that has happened. Okay, to judge the importance or estimate the nature, quality, or significance of an issue. Next exam verb is discuss. Discuss we saw a lot of times. Now what does discuss want you to do? Argue or debate about the pros and cons of an issue, the benefits, the drawbacks, the limitations. So you have to talk about the pros and cons of an issue when you are asked to discuss something. Am I clear? All the 5 exam verbs that we have studied here, are they clear to you? Please take a moment and confirm. No hurries. Clear? Very good. Next is estimate. Very simple. Do the calculation. Calculate an approximate value based on reasonable assumptions and explaining those assumptions wherever appropriate. So if you're making an assumption, you can write now. You write like note, it is assumed that the risk-free rate of return is 5%, for example. So if you're doing a calculation and within that calculation, if you're assuming something specifically, write it down as a note, explaining those assumptions wherever appropriate. That is estimates. Next is evaluate. Okay. Students tend to get confused between an analysis, right? Analyze and evaluate. Let me tell you the difference. Analyze is what? I told you, you give reasons for the current situation, right? Now let us understand what evaluate is. This will require you to present a balanced discussion of an issue, looking at both the positive and negative issues. You are presenting a discussion on the positive and negative aspects of something, where numbers feature in a question, and evaluation will require you to use the numbers provided to create a value from which a judgment can be made. You have to evaluate a proposal, evaluate whether a project should be undertaken. So you look at the pros and cons of that proposal. Okay, and then you give that necessary input for taking a prudent decision out of it. So what does evaluate? You look at the aspects from all angles. Okay, and then you provide the suitable data for taking a decision out of it. Okay, so where numbers feature in a question, an evaluation will require you to use the numbers provided to create a value from which a judgment can be made. Whereas what was analyzed? Analyze was you give reasons for why a situation is the way it is. Okay. Assess was what? Judge the importance. Come and judge the importance of the situation, something that has happened. Okay. Analyze is why. Here you are judging the importance of that situation. Don't get confused within each one of them. Next is explain. Now explain is what? Making an idea clear. So if it is asking you to explain the concept of NPV and APV, you write what NPV and APV is. So this involves making an idea clear and could require you to, for example, show logically how a concept is developed or to give the reason for an event. So basically explain is, you explain why, you explain a particular concept, you explain how it was developed, how that, concept of APV or why it was developed. That is what explain is. And lastly, we have recommend. Under recommend, we have, if you are asked to recommend, then you are expected to use the details presented in the scenario to make a logical and justified course of action. You have to tell that this is a recommendation from our side. The recommendation is to undertake the project. The recommendation is to reject the project. So you recommend, you are expected to use the details and take a justified decision. So actually now, recommend and advise, they are similar. Recommend and advise are similar in a way. Here also you are telling them what you think they should do. And recommend is also something similar, like what should be done next. Okay. Please take a look at these four question verbs also. And then we have, I have prepared a summary for all of these which I will show to you. But first, have a look at it and let me know if there is any confusion. Clear? Himanshu and Mehika, clear? Others, please take a moment. No hurry, but just let me know if you're done. Clear? Perfect. Now, let me show this to you. Small summary that I have prepared for you in Excel in simple terms. Let us just understand here. What was the first verb we studied? Advice. Right? What do you have to do in advice? Tell someone what you think they should do in a given scenario. One word explanation of what is expected of you from the given question verb. Yes. So Ashish, this PPT, as I told you, this PPT and this Excel will be shared with you. It will be uploaded in a Google Drive and you will get the link of that drive. Sandeep from VGLD admin team, he does it. So I will share the notes with him after the class is over. So basically after a particular chapter is over now, then I share it, because during while we are studying also now, we might keep on making some changes in the notes or Excel. So after a particular chapter is over, I will share across that particular chapter's notes. Is it okay, Ashish? All right. So first one is advice. Advice is tell someone what you think they should do in a given scenario. Next is analyze. What do you have to do in analyze? Break an issue into multiple parts and discuss the current situation. Right? Very simply put, analyzes, break the issue into multiple parts and discuss the current situation. Apply is, what did we study? Put a particular concept, for example, APV, NPV, and put it into action as per the question's requirement or data. Next is assess. Assess, I gave you the example of insurance assessor. So identify the requirements of an issue and whether those issues are being met from the given data. Or let's just make a small change over here. Let's try to simplify it further. Judge the importance of an issue. Assess is, you judge the importance of an issue. Okay. Next, number 5 is discuss. Discuss about the advantages and disadvantages of an issue. Okay. So, better way to argue, or argue, okay. Argue about the simply pros and cons of an issue. Next, we have estimate. Simply calculate an approximate value, mentioning assumptions, if any, taken. Okay. Next is evaluate. Evaluate, what do you have to do? balanced discussion on right or wrong and why it is right or wrong. Okay, evaluate what you have to do. Complete balanced discussion, the different aspects I told you, and then you have to explain why it is right or wrong. Explain is make a concept clear to a layman, as if you're explaining the concept to someone who doesn't know about it. And recommend is, as I told you, it is same as advice. A course of action is to be recommended. Clear? Does this table help you? One shot place. You'll be using it a lot later on whenever you read the questions. Now just refer to this small sheet. If the question verb is asking you to analyze something, understand first what you have to do. If you are asked to analyze, to break down an issue into multiple parts and discuss the current situation. That is your approach for writing the right answers. I'm telling you, all of these words now, when you don't know the meaning behind them, all of them seem same. Analyze, evaluate, estimate, all of them seem same. But you need to know the clarity, the difference between each one of them to be able to get the marks. Please tell me, is it fine? All the question verbs I've put at one place. Let me know if it works for you. Is it okay in simple words? Perfect. Let's get to the next topic. So we have summarized those two slides in a small table. You can refer to it later on. Okay, so we keep on doing these things, we keep on summarizing important stuff. So don't, you get it concise for the exam preparation also. So what is the way? See, this is something you will imbibe in your preparation itself. That you first read the requirement. Okay, read the requirement. Then you identify the question verb. Then read the rest of the question. Reading the requirement first, you will have an idea of what you are looking out for as you read through the exhibits. Say, I told you read the requirement first. You would have asked me, why, ma'am? Normally a student does what? You read the exhibit, you go in a flow, no? You read the exhibits are coming first, so you read the exhibit first, and then you go to the requirement, and then you write the answer. But I'm telling you something different. I'm telling you read the requirement first, and then you read the exhibits. Why? See, remember those class 8-9 questions where you were required to read a passage and then solve some questions below it? What you used to do, you used to read the passage first and then used to come to the questions now. Something happened in that process that if the passage is too long, you will get, confused, and maybe so much data is coming to you that you're not able to address or remember the exhibit by the time you come to the question. Okay, so when you have read the requirement first, you know what is going to be asked to you. Okay, and then when you read the exhibit and the relevant part comes in the exhibit, your mind gets alert. Okay, so this is the relevant information for answering that particular requirement. Highlight it, copy it right away in the exhibit, right? That is the difference. When you read the requirement first, you know that this is something that is going to be asked to me later. And when I'm reading the exhibit, I will keep on highlighting this relevant information to be able to answer the requirement correctly. Are you able to understand the reason why reading requirement is better? I mean, reading the requirement first is better approach. So that when you are reading the long exhibits, your mind is already alert that, this particular information in the exhibit is going to be useful for me later on. Okay. This is a great time saver and means you don't end up having to read the whole question in full twice. Understood? And lastly, read the requirement again, because ultimately you have to score the marks by answering the requirement correctly. So you read the requirement again. Read the requirement again to remind yourself of the exact wording before starting your written answer. So you read the requirement first, then you read the exhibit. Now again you read the requirement. Follow this approach for all the questions we are going to do. Read the requirement again and to remind yourself of the exact wording before starting your written answer. This will capture any misinterpretation of the requirement. When you read the requirement first, you were not in depth into the question at that time. You were not aware about what type of a scenario is going to be given to you. So when you read the requirement again, any type of misinterpretation that you might have had before, it will capture any misinterpretation of the requirements or any misrequirements entirely. This should become a habit in your approach. Very, very important. It should become a habit in your approach, and with repeated practice, you will find the focus, relevance, and depth of your answer plan will improve. Are you with me so far? Why you are doing something, having that skeptical attitude, you should have had it here also. Now, why should we read the requirement first? So that when you read the exhibit, your mind is alert that this is something asked to me later on. I should keep it in my mind, or I should highlight it or copy it. And then why are we reading the requirement again? So that any, conceptual clarity that we did not have when we read the requirement first, it gets ultra clear now. So it is a great, great time saver. Otherwise, what happens normally? You read the exhibit first. Now, you know the difference between the length of the exhibits and the length of the requirements. Now, otherwise, what will happen? You read the exhibit first, like you're reading a story. Then you read the requirement. Then, oh my God, was this covered? Where was it covered? You will end up reading the exhibit again. Imagine the time you are wasting. Please tell me, are you able to follow what I just said? Read the requirement first, then exhibit, then requirement, rather than exhibit first, requirement, and exhibit again. The time taken in the second approach will be way, way more than the time taken in the first approach. Clear? Make sure you follow this habit. I'm sure the students who have studied from me earlier are already following it, right? So make this a habit when you are studying from now onwards. Okay. What was the first skill that we learned? The first skill was managing information. Like you have a lot of data given to you. How do you manage that data? Second skill is interpretation of the requirement should be correct. Don't answer Don't answer what is asked of you. Okay. Third exam success skill is So the third exam success skill is answer planning. This is something which is going to be useful for, see, the skills which we are discussing now, it is going to be useful for all your ACCA papers. Remember this, these are tricks to help you ace your exam. Now, answer planning, prioritize, structure, and logic. Now, this skill requires the planning of the key aspects of an answer which accurately and completely responds the requirement. Now, how do you develop this skill? Everyone will have a preferred style for an answer plan. For example, it may be a mind map or bullet pointed lists. Choose the approach that you feel most comfortable with, or if you are not sure, try out different approaches for different questions until you have found your preferred style. In a computer-based exam, you may use the copy and paste functions to copy the question requirements to the beginning of your answer. See, it's written here that you can copy the necessary content, copy the requirement itself in the answer, so that throughout when you're drafting the answer, your eyes are there on the requirement that this is what you have to write. So copy the requirements at the beginning of the answer. This will allow you to ensure that your answer plan addresses all parts of the question requirements. I'll tell you practically what it means. This exam success skill is, by now you have read the exhibit, you have read the requirements. Now you have to draft your answer for it, right? Now in your mind now, when you are starting to write an answer, a lot of thoughts will be coming to your mind together. I will write this in my answer. I will write this in my answer. I'll tell you what I used to do. I used to scribble down my thoughts. I will, in very small words, in very limited words. just 2-3 words per sentence that, this thought is coming to me. Just keep scribbling these thoughts. Because, and then, what you can do later? You can develop these thoughts further. So, what it is saying, this exam success skill 3 is talking about is you write down your mind thoughts somewhere in a bullet list or in a mind map sort of a format, whatever you have been doing. So, you have given a lot of exams in your life so far. So, whatever works for you. I'm telling you what I used to do. I used to write down those small keywords alongside the question itself. Now, it's not a written exam anymore. You can type it in the exam response options itself. That, I have to talk about all these points in my answer. Keep it in a short way and then you start writing your answer. Keep it towards the right so that you can delete it later on. Because I'll tell you, there is no option to insert or delete rows and columns in exam. So it's not like you will write on top and then you will delete the rows later so that your answer starts showing from the first row. It will not be possible. So that is why I'm telling you, write the rough things towards the right, because towards right you will not be using as much. No? The sentences will keep on getting covered and later on you can delete it from the right side directly. So they've used the skill, prioritize, structure your answer. Right? When you start writing, immediately don't start writing in long sentences. Write down shortly what all thoughts you have and then frame your answer. You develop on those points. Maybe while developing those points, something new comes to you. You can write it at that point itself. But the key theme of your answer, you should have it handy before you start writing the main answer. Did you understand? Is it clear? Yeah, Meg. Please tell me. So I'll tell you this. 1 second. Huh? Yeah. So if you are writing a remote exam, then rough paper is not allowed. Okay. If you're going for a center-based exam, they may give you a rough pad, a writing pad. So if you are going for a center-based exam, Meg, have you written your skill level papers in a center? Or did you go for remote exam? Center now? In center, the same process will apply. You will be able to you will get those papers, rough papers in exam. But if you're writing remote exam now, do not even make the mistake of keeping anything on the table. Your exam might get cancelled. So in remote exam, you have to use the scratch pad, which is available, or you can, write in the Google, I mean, sorry, not Google, the Excel or the Word file. But in center-based exam, you get it. All right. So that is exam success skill 3. Now, exam success skill 4. Efficient numerical analysis. Very, very important. Let's see what it is. This skill aims to maximize the marks awarded by making clear to the marker the process of arriving at your answer. Remember, I told you avoid using calculators. This is the reason. If you have to get higher marks now, show the examiner from where you got a certain number. Okay, so don't do the calculations in a calculator and put it, because examiner will not know what you did in the calculator, because there are step marks. Maybe your final answer could be wrong, but if you have followed the right steps in arriving at the number, you will get partial marks. So the skill aims to maximize the marks awarded by making clear to the marker the process of arriving at your answer. This is achieved by laying out an answer such that even if you make a few errors, you will still score subsequent marks for follow-on calculations. So show your calculations always. It is vital that you do not lose marks purely because the marker cannot follow what you have done, right? So show the marker what you are doing. Don't let him, see, I'll tell you one trick which I followed throughout my life while appearing for exams. Make sure you make the examiner happy, okay? Don't leave him confused. He is wondering, oh my God, this part is here, this part is there. Don't make him do something. Just make him give you marks, nothing else. Don't let him figure out where you have done what. You present it in a ready-made platter to him. Okay? So make sure your examiner, your marker, is able to follow what you are doing. He should not be put in a position that he is wondering, oh, the student would have thought this, the student would have thought that. Don't let him assume anything. It is important to use the spreadsheet provided to produce a clear and efficient numerical analysis. Okay, so you can use the spreadsheet to do all the calculations. It is not a sensible idea, again reiterating, it is not a sensible idea to perform calculations on a calculator and then manually transfer them to the spreadsheet, because this will not show the marker where numbers have come from. Clear? Show the marker from where you are getting the numbers. Show in the calculations whatever you are doing. Okay, it is important because you can link everything in the Excel. Now you can click on a particular equals to, link a particular cell. You can do that. Okay, so I'll show you something what I'm trying to tell. So have a look at this. So this is your answer script. Okay, so this is your main answer, for example. And these are your working notes. Working note number 1. And you're doing your calculations here. You got, after the calculations, you have got the number 5. Now you have to use this number 5 in your main answer. Rather than manually writing 5, I'm telling you something. You write in bracket note 1. Okay, whatever the explanation of this line is. And then you click on equals to and you link it to this cell, so that the examiner knows where your note 1 is, and then the details of the calculation he will be able to understand from this part, whatever you would have done here. So make sure you follow this approach, use links. So, and there is another benefit of this. So for example, later on you find out that there has been some mistake in calculating 5. Okay. So if you have linked the cell, any change that you make here, so for example, I make it 8 after the correction, it gets updated above also. So I don't have to remember where all I have to make the changes of this 5 becoming 8. It gets automatically reflected. So make sure you link it in whatever calculations. Now, if I have to do 8 into 2 here, so I will do into 2 directly, 16. And if I just change the number here, 3, it becomes 6. So make use of this small things which I'm telling you. Remember this throughout now when we will be practicing the questions. All right. So coming back again. Yeah. It is important to remember that in an exam situation, it is difficult to get every number 100% correct. See, don't have the expectation I will get 100 out of 100. Don't go with that expectation. You will end up getting nervous. So in an exam situation, it is difficult to get every number 100% correct. It is important that you do not spend too long on any single calculation. If you are struggling with a solution, then make a sensible assumption and move on. I'm telling you, please don't make the mistake of getting stuck in a particular question. I am going to champion this answer. Forget the rest. Don't have this approach. Each of the question have their own importance and each one of them carry marks. It's not like if you beautify just one answer so much, the examiner will give you 7 out of 5. Never. So if you are getting stuck in a particular calculation, make an assumption and move on with it. Don't keep on thinking that, I have to solve this one only correctly. You will get some partial marks, maybe not full, but some partial marks you will get here and then from the rest of the answer that you're going to appear in the saved time. Now, so always follow this approach. Do not spend too long on any single calculation. If you are struggling with a solution, then make a reasonable assumption and move on. Using a spreadsheet allows you to show the marker how numerical values have been calculated. Like I showed you, do the calculations into to link it. So using a spreadsheet allows you to do that, because the basis for calculation, if this is displayed, if the marker clicks onto the cell. So if I'm doing any, if I double click on it, the examiner will be able to see it is a linked cell multiplied with 2. So if the examiner will understand what is the calculation that you're doing. So clear labeling. So I told you, give supporting explanation for each calculation. So you need to label the calculation. Don't think the examiner will know himself what you are doing in a particular cell. Label what you are doing. Like if you are calculating NPV, write NPV, like you do normally also. So clear labeling should also help to show the marker what the numbers are intended to mean. Don't leave it to him to assume something. You specify whatever you are writing. Clear? So clear labeling should also help the examiner to understand what the numbers actually mean. So are we clear with this skill? Skill number 4. Is it clear, everyone? What you have to do, you have to make sure the examiner understands your calculations. This skill is about doing numerical analysis. Okay. Next skill is effective writing and presentation. So I told you I'll tell you some presentation tricks later on. This is something, okay, which you need to know. So effective writing and presentation, very, very important. So written answers should be presented so that the marker can clearly see the points you are making, presented in the format specified in the question. So if the report format is asked, then you write it in the form of a report. The skill is to provide efficient written answers with sufficient breadth of points. You expand on the points as required in the right depth in the time available. See, all of you are going to have the same time. You have to maximize or optimize your statements as much as you can in the allotted time only. Okay. So advice on developing this skill. So number 1 is use headings. First, remember this, very, very important. Let me show it to you what I mean here. Okay. So for example, this was the heading. Make it bold, make it underline. Just giving you example, you might just choose to do bold, you might just choose to do underline, whatever. I'm just giving you an idea. Give headings. And I'll tell you a trick here. Okay. Very, very important. Remember this. So first requirement is what? Discuss the feasibility and effectiveness of the defense. Now what I'll do, if I have to make a heading out of it, I'll copy this. Control C. I'll come to this. If I'm writing the first answer, this is part A. I'll give this. And then I will write, double click this. I'll just change the statement a little. Discussion on the feasibility and effectiveness of the defense strategies or defense strategies of selling of individual retail kiosks. Okay. And maybe director's remuneration I'm going to do later. So this will be bold and underline. This is how you can give headings to your answer. See, you're saving time, you're gaining marks also. Give headings. Okay, discussion on the feasibility and effectiveness. I just made one small change and I have a very good statement. And then next statement I have to write about director's remuneration. I'll write my answer here, whatever I have to write. I go down and start my answer, new answer now. Again, discussion on enhancing director's remuneration. I'm giving you examples, and now I will write down whatever I want to write about this part. You have given a heading and you have not even taken time in doing it. You just copied it. And you know what? You can do it for all the requirements. Like this, okay? Estimates the company's cost of capital. Copy this. You have written your answer here. Next part you start here. Now, what will be the statement? Estimation of the company's cost of capital before the new bonds are issued. Are you able to follow what I'm trying to tell you? These are tips you should know. It will really save your time and gain you marks, both. Right? Now come back here, read it again. So use headings. So if you have to improve your presentation format, use headings in your answer. Using the headings and then subheadings from your answer plan will give your answer structure and order logic. This will ensure your answer links back to the requirement. You are addressing the requirement carefully and is clearly signposted. What do you mean by signposted? Labeled properly, making it easier for the marker to understand the different points you are making. So the examiner knows that you have written about the estimation of the cost of capital in this paragraph here. That is where I need to refer to give you marks for this point. Because examiners have a marking scheme. Okay, and then that is where they'll give you marks from. He will understand that you have written a particular requirement in this paragraph. He will read, he will check it from the marking scheme. If you are able to, if you are eligible to get the marks, he will give you the marks there. Rather than you making him search, okay, estimation of cost of capital in this paragraph, then next part in this paragraph, don't let him do it. You do it for him, and in a very simple way. Underlining your headings will also help the marker. All right. Next step is write your answer in short but full sentences. So I'll tell you, whenever you are explaining something, now when I'm talking to you, I'm talking to you in very small sentences. Similarly, when you're writing also, write in small sentences. Don't make the sentence too long that, by the time a person reaches the end of the statement, he forgets what you have started off with. Make full stops, then semicolons, colons, basic English tips. Make the statement small. Don't make very long sentences. So use short, clear sentences. And also remember, don't think you get marks for increasing the length of the answer. Maybe it would have worked in graduation or somewhere else, but here it will not work. Make sure your answers are, the statements are very crystal clear and each statement brings out a new point. It should not be like you're making a statement active voice, passive voice. My name is Anushka. I am known by Anushka. Anushka is my name. Just to increase the length of the answer, you're writing these three sentences to make just one point. Never make that mistake. Each statement should be, having its own independent identity and having its own relevance without being repetitive in nature. So use short, clear sentences with the aim that every sentence should say something different and generate marks. Write in full sentences, ensuring your style is professional. You are writing a strategic professional exam. So your answers have to look professional. You can't be writing like a baby, in small bullet points. Bullet point answers are it's not something which is expected of you. Write in paragraphs, small paragraphs, 2-3 sentences, one paragraph, that's all. Move to the next paragraph. Don't think if you write bulleted answers, you will get the marks. You're writing a report. It's not like you're, doing some sort of a team meeting type of a thing. You're writing a report to the senior management. Okay. So Santosh has a doubt. Suppose question is of 8 marks and the ask is only concluded in a small paragraph, then normally it will not happen. Okay, so I'll tell you something. A very good question, Santosh. Follow this trick. At the strategic professional level, it is recommended for each mark, you write for 2 to 3 sentences. Minimum 2, maximum if time is allowing you, write up to 3 sentences. And if it is of 8 marks, you definitely need to write in maybe 8 small paragraphs or 4 paragraphs. So if you have to write sufficient, you can't be underwriting, writing less to score the sufficient marks. So you need to write at least, it is recommended 2 sentences, 2 to 3 sentences maximum for each mark. That is how you should be structuring your answer. You can't be completing 8 marks question in just 1 paragraph. You will not get marks. Okay, but the idea is not like if you write too much, you will get a lot of marks. If you're writing too much and all of that is garbage, you will not still get marks. But if you're writing small sentences, 2-3 sentences, and what you're writing is right, you will get the marks. Okay, So that is step number 2. Alright, sorry, my bad. Just 2 steps here for effective writing and presentation, that you give headings and you write in small sentences in small paragraphs. Priya says for step 2, do we have to answer in storytelling style? I'll not say storytelling, Priya. I would suggest writing in small paragraphs. Okay. So write in paragraphs, don't write in bulleted points, like 7-8 words per bullet point. It will not get you marks. Write in all sentences, explaining in full sentences what you're trying to say. Okay. Can we number the points? Yes, you can number the points. That is not a problem. But it should not be, short sentences, incomplete sentences so that the reader understands on his own. No, that should not be the intent. You want to write in points, you can write it, but you should be full sentences, framed sentences, not bulleted points. Okay, Salman? Perfect. Now, skill number 6 is exam success skill. Last, but the most important skill. Take feedback from students who have appeared for the paper. They'll say the paper was very lengthy. I knew everything, but I could not attempt it. You know what the problem is? The problem is with time management. They were not able to manage the time properly. There is a very important thought you should keep in mind. You have to get 50 marks. Now, you answer it for me. Which one is easier? Scoring 50 out of 70 attempted paper, or scoring 50 out of 90 attempted paper? You tell me which one will be easier for you to pass the exam. You have written 70 solid. As per you, it is the best answer possible. But you have just written for 70 marks. But 90-95 marks you have written, maybe not of the highest quality you could have imagined, but of average quality. But you have attempted for 90-95 marks. Where do you think your probability of passing will be higher? Definitely out of 90. Definitely. So make sure when you are entering the exam, you have it in your mind that bare minimum, I'm going to attempt 90 marks. I have to manage my time in such a way that I am able to attempt 90 marks. Okay. So for this exam success skill, I have done some calculations for you. Let me show it to you. Okay. See, let's break down the time that we have in hand. So I told you we have got total 3 hours 15 minutes time. That is the exam duration. And I told you ACCA does not tell you to, allocate 15 minutes for reading and then 3 hours only for writing. There's nothing like that. Total 3 hours 15 will be available to you. You manage it the way you want. But the suggestion is, when you're starting off, you skim read. So total, how much time do we have? We have total 3 hours 15 minutes. That means 195 minutes available with us. Now, out of which I'm telling you, consume maximum. You might read, if you're a fast reader, you can do it fast also. So maximum 15 minutes for skim reading. For skim reading the introductory paragraphs and exhibits of each question and understanding the topics being tested. This is the sole objective, that you understand the topics being tested so that you know what you are good at, and then accordingly select the order in which you are going to attempt the paper. This would be based on your level of preparation for each of the topics being tested. Okay, this would be based on your level of preparation for each of the topics being tested. Go for the best prepared topics question first. Do you agree? Please let me if you have understood. that in the first 15 minutes, you're just skim reading it very fast. You're just skim reading it. You are understanding that, yes, this topic has been tested. I will, this is the order, select the order. That is the objective of this first 15 minutes. Like, what is the order in which you're going to attempt the question paper? Okay. So out of 195 minutes, we have lost 15 minutes in doing these reading and then deciding the order. Now we have 180 minutes for 100 marks. Okay. That translates to how much? 1.8 minute per mark. So you have approximately 1.8 minutes per mark. Now, when you have skim read here, you have decided that this is the order. You are going to write question number 2 first, then you're going to write question number 1, then you're going to write question number 3. This is the order that you have decided for yourself. Okay. So question number 2 is going to be what? A 25 mark question. How much marks does it carry? 25. Now tell me, how much time will you have for it? You will have, can I say 25 into 1.8? That is 45 minutes. Please tell me, do you agree? For a 25 mark question, how much time will you have now? Total, you will have 45 minutes. Now, the first 20% of the time, that means, see, out of this 25 mark questions, 5 marks, you're not going to have anything, right? You don't have to write something special for this 5 professional marks now. So what is the time that you have for those 5 marks? Can I say it is 9 minutes? During these 9 minutes, you follow that logic. Read the requirement first. Read the exhibit next. Read the requirement next. Again, and frame those small bullet points I told you to write. These are the mind map. This is the mind map that I have to write my answer. This is known as your planning time. So out of 45 minutes maximum, see, while you are studying now, make sure all of these things become like natural to you. You don't have to think so much. That for 25 marks, I have to give 45 minutes. Make it a habit. Practice in this much time only. And gradually you will see that your speed is increasing. First you will feel, ma'am, I'm not able to write only. I couldn't finish the answer. When you are facing such problems early on while you're starting to study now, by the time you have to prepare for the exam, you will be champions of time management. Okay. So 25 mark questions, allot 45 minutes. Out of that 45 minutes, that marks that is available for professional marks, the time for it you consume for planning your answer. Okay. Now, if subpart A of the question is for 6 marks, this is a technical question. You have to do something, calculate, do estimate, discuss, whatever. 6 technical marks. How much time do you have here? 6 into 1.8. So do a multiple of 2. Who will remember into 1.8? So do a multiple of 2. Approximately you have 12 minutes for it. Okay. So 6 marks, 12 minutes. 6 marks, 12 minutes. Again, 8 marks, 14-15 minutes. This is how, if you start preparing right from the first day, I'm telling you, you will really help yourselves in exam questions. Question papers tend to be lengthy. Okay. So to manage it, make sure you are practicing like this. Please tell me if you understood the planning part that I've just discussed here. Till here, are you with me? Anything that you could not understand, please feel free to let me know. I will elaborate on it more. Go through it. And in the similar way, now only I have done for the 50 mark and the again 25 mark question also, right? Like 10 marks will be available. So 10 into 1.8 is 18 minutes. 18 minutes maximum I'll take to read the requirement, exhibits, requirements again, and making the mind map of my answer maximum. If you're able to do all of this faster, then good. You get more time to write here. So 14 marks question is there, 14 into 1.8. So this is the time management. So when you are starting off the exam, for example, if you're starting it at 1 o'clock in the afternoon and you're starting off with this question, so make sure in your mind it is clear, I have to wrap up this answer by 1 p.m. 45 minutes or 1:45 p.m. This is how you should approach. And similarly, like for 50 mark question, if you're doing this first at 1 p.m., so by 2:30 p.m. I should be done with this. This is the approach that you need to follow. And within each subpart also allocate it as much time only. so that you giving excess time to any particular subpart, it does not eat away the time of another subpart. All of them get their own due recommended time. Take a moment, confirm to me if you have understood the planning, good time management skills that is discussed here. Everyone, I want a confirmation from you. Take your time, no hurry. Just go through it. Are you able to follow what I'm trying to tell you? Yes? Perfect. Perfect. Then let's come back to the slide and wrap up this introduction tech. So good time management. This skill means planning your time across all the requirements so that all tasks have been attempted at the end of the 3 or 15 minutes available, and actively checking on the time during your exam. Wear a watch, please. Wear a watch to the exam. Make sure you're tracking it, how much time you're consuming. And don't wear smartwatches. They can question it. Wear your normal analog watches. All right. This is so that you can flex your approach and prioritize requirements, which in your judgment will generate the maximum marks available remaining, right? What is the time that you can generate? What is the time that is left? How much is the maximum marks that you can generate out of it? It will always be clear to you if you're following this skill that I have just shared with you. Keep an eye on the clock. Aim to attempt all requirements, but be ready to be ruthless and move on. That point in your exam now, when you will take that decision of leaving a particular requirement half answered and moving on to the next because the time allocated to has passed, it will be very difficult. But you have to make sure you are you are making a justified approach to all the questions. It will be fine. So it will seem very painful that I know this answer fully, but I'm not getting the time and I have to move on. You have to live with it, because if you do not move on, you are leaving other questions which also you know. So just by beautifying one answer, you will not get extra marks. You have to attempt maximum out of it. So be ready to be ruthless and move on if your answer is not going as planned. The challenge for many is sticking to planned timings, right? Like 45 minutes for 25-mark question. It is very difficult. It is a challenge which a lot of students face. Be aware this is difficult to achieve in the early stages of your studies, and be ready to let the skill develop over time. This is the very much the reason why I'm telling you all of this in the first class itself, so that when we start practicing, you are good with it already. Okay. Avoid discussing issues at great length. Remember that strategic professional options examinations are normally marked on the basis of 1 mark per point, possibly with an extra mark for fully developing the same point. Normally, as I told you, 1 mark, write 2 to 3 sentences, that's it. Okay, so if you find yourself running short on time and know that a full answer is not possible in the time you have, consider recreating your plan in overview form and then add key terms and details as time allows. So if you have to wrap up a particular answer quickly now, insert as many key terms as possible and then just wrap it up and move on. You have to be very proactive. You have to keep an eye on the clock, so that if you find that you will not be able to answer it completely in that moment, just put in as much as you know the keywords and all, and leave it and go ahead. Okay. Remember, some marks may be available, for example, simply stating a conclusion which you don't have time to justify in full. For example, you were solving the NPV question. It was a very lengthy question, but you were not able to finish it in time. But you know that, the project is going to give me positive NPV. Just write that conclusion. It is suggested that the project be undertaken by the company. That conclusion also carries 1 mark, and you might get that mark. It could be making all the difference. Maybe you were scoring 49 and now you're scoring 50 with that 1 additional mark. Just write as much as possible, but in the allotted time. Are we clear, everyone? So what are the 6 skills that we have learned? Number 1 was managing information. Number 2, correct interpretation of the requirements. Number 3, prioritizing the answer plan. Number 4, efficient numerical analysis. You show all the working. Number 5, effective writing and presentation, format of your answer. And 6 is time management. Please tell me if it is fine. All the points, anything that you want me to discuss again from the slide. From after this, it is over. So anything at all, let me know, please. Clear? Perfect. Perfect. So let's do one thing. Let's take a 5-minute break. And then after the break, we will start off chapter number 1 from the syllabus. Okay. So it's 1:40 now, 1:45. Take a small refresh yourself and then, we'll start off with the new chapter. All right. Just 5 minutes, huh? Yep. So chapter number 1, it is financial strategy formulation. Okay. Chapter number 1. So we're going to talk about what are financial strategies, what all strategies a company pursue, and how it is formulated. Okay. If you face any doubts now, like from the previous topic also that we have completed, don't worry, like it is completed now. I cannot ask. Even if you find a doubt later on while you're going through the notes or something, you can ask it to me in the next class. Okay, nothing to worry over there. Okay. So, when you are starting off now, like we are starting off our financial management journey. Now, when we are doing it, please, like tattoo this on your mind that the objective of doing a profit business is to maximize the wealth of the shareholders. It is not to maximize profit. It is to maximize the wealth of the shareholders, which is also the heading of the slide, maximization of shareholders' wealth. Now, someone please tell me, what do you understand is the difference between profit and wealth? What do you think is the difference between the two? What is the difference between profit and wealth? Himanshu is saying that wealth is wider than profit in its scope. Okay. Others, please try. What do you mean? Or what is the difference between wealth and profit? So, yes, you are right that profit is a part of wealth. Now, please understand profit now, it's a very accounting terminology. You would have learned calculating profits in your accounts classes. That you have to take revenue, from that you have to reduce cost of goods sold, then you have to reduce depreciation, accrued expenses, blah, 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 and then you arrive at the profit. Profit is an accounting term. Whereas what is wealth? Wealth is what the shareholder earns out of his investment in the company. I'll repeat myself. Wealth is what the shareholder earns out of the investment in his company. Now, we have a very big forum today. Now, tell me, how many of you are invested in the stocks? How many of you have invested in the stock market? Do you have investments? Mehak has, right? Saroj has, Parul has, Twinkle has. A lot of you have investments. You are what? Shareholders. Now you all tell me, when do you feel that you have earned out of the investment in the company? Tell me in layman terms. I'm not telling anything technical. I'm just asking you, when do you feel that you have gained something out of this investment in the company? Salman says dividend. Meg says increase in share price. Both of you are right. These are the two avenues by which there is an increase in the wealth of the shareholders. When there is an increase in the price of the shares, you as shareholders have invested in the shares of the company. So your wealth increases when the price of the share increases, and also you earn dividend, and or you may or may not earn dividend, but that is how you feel that my wealth is increasing. I have, for example, invested 1 lakh rupees in Reliance. Now it has become 1,50,000. The total value of my investment. What is the increase? How is my wealth getting maximized by 50,000 rupees? Okay, and also like if it has paid me dividend over the year of, let us say, 5,000. So that 50,000 plus 5,000 total wealth maximization for me will be 55,000. And this is, please understand, the objective of financial management. You as financial managers will be the torch bearer of enhancing the wealth of the shareholders. You're not working towards profit. Profit is a very accounting term. A lot of accounting adjustments, IFRS implementation and all is done to arrive at the profits. Profit maximization is not your goal. Your goal is to maximize the wealth which is visible. How much have I gained? Now, for example, a company, it has got very good, accounting numbers. It has been reporting profit year on year. But I'll come to it, Salman. It has been reporting good profits year on year. But the company has always been, engulfed in some legal issue, some RBI regulation, and it is just constrained all the time. It is reporting profits, but some sort of legal hassle it always keeps handling. Don't you think its share price will be impacted by this? Its share price, although it is reporting profit, it might come down. And if you have invested in the markets for a very long time now, you will have encountered the situation also. The company is delivering profits, but its share price is going down. Why? Because the industry is going through a slowdown, or maybe there are some legal audit issues which are being highlighted for the company. In this way, it is not natural. It is not always natural that wealth maximization and profit maximization will go hand in hand. Sometimes, in very rare scenarios, they can go in different directions also. So it is not right in saying that every profit-making company is generating wealth for the shareholders. I'll tell you another thing also. Now, let us take Flipkart only for example, right? Flipkart is currently in losses. But do you think it has created value for its shareholders? Think and answer. Does it have any value towards its shareholders? Salman is saying yes, but it is a loss-making company. Jatan is saying no, it doesn't have any value. Okay. Gaurav is saying yes. Others, be very candid. Whatever you feel. Whether Flipkart, which is a loss-making company, does it have any value or not? I got most of them as yeses. Okay. Now let us just check out something. Flipkart is valued at $37.6 billion as of 2022. What is this then? This is actually value for the shareholders only. Okay. So yes, it is a loss-making enterprise, but it has got a value and it has enhanced also over the years. So as I told you, profit and wealth may not go hand in hand sometimes. Okay. So it is a loss-making company, but its value is enhanced because it has performed better in terms of its business year on year. Okay. And sometime maybe in future they will come in profits also. Okay. Yes, business growth is there. Business valuation is increasing because it has been able to get into tier 2, tier 3 cities where even Amazon is not present. Quick deliveries. They are working on the business bit of it, and then eventually they will find a way to monetize it. Now, recently you would have seen, like when you shop on Flipkart, you buy a mobile phone, you have to pay a fees. Have you seen that? Secured packaging fees. Anyone bought a mobile phone recently on Flipkart? You would have paid some 49, 29, 39 rupees, very small amount you are paying. Okay. That is what a way to monetize it. That you are getting the convenience of getting a mobile phone in a sealed manner delivered on your doorstep. and which you can open also. There is open box delivery concept. You can open your mobile phone in front of the delivery partner. If your mobile is fine, you accept it. You give in the OTP. Correct? So this is what a way of monetizing the business. They are currently growing on business, and eventually they are finding out avenues of getting into profits also. Okay. So in similar way, you would have seen if you're shopping on, if you're buying things on Swiggy, Zomato, they'll charge some platform fees, convenience fees. Like recently, Myntra and Ajio, they have been charging return fees if you're returning regularly, because whenever you return an item, it is a loss on the business. They are not getting GMV. GMV is revenue. They are not getting GMV out of it. In fact, there is a delivery charge, return pickup charge. So they've started charging you return pickup charges also. So that they can minimize their losses and maximize their revenues, revenue sources. Are you able to think through it? Okay. Now let's just come back. Let's come back to the deck. What we were starting off with is that the objective of every profit organization, unless it is a not-for-profit organization like an NGO, if we are talking about a profit, private or a profit organization, the objective which you have to pursue is always going to be maximization of shareholders' wealth. Okay. So investors care about future. Is the business sustainable? Dividend. You would have seen a lot of companies are shutting down today because investors have stopped giving them money. They don't see any future of this business. Very recently, like I think a week back, Zest Money closed down. Zest Money, it laid off the final 150 employees which it was having. So many layoffs are happening because investors have stopped putting money in these businesses because they don't see any future in it. Okay. So investors care about future. Dividend. How much they are earning. See, you will always know that, profit making companies can afford to pay dividend. Loss making companies cannot afford to pay you dividend, but they can reward a shareholder by increase in share price. Byju's, yes, Byju's also is recently going through a turmoil phase. It has the founder has indebted his home to pay off salaries. Now imagine the situation the company is in. The founder has to put his house as collateral to get loans to pay salaries to the employees. And there was a time they were marketing heavily during this. I guess it was cricket tournament was going on. I don't remember, but they were advertising heavily at that time. Okay, so investors are seeing all of these things. So investors care about future, dividend, financing plans. What do you mean by financing plans? From where you're getting the finance. It could be through equity or it could be through debt. So investors care about future. What is the business outlook about it? Dividend, financing plans, and risk management. So I'll tell you, fintech companies today, they are in huge risk. RBI is going left, right, center on them. You would have seen just 2-3 days back, Paytm has paused its postpaid feature. That is the BNPL feature. I was talking about IPL, not World Cup. Yes, Jatin, I'm talking about IPL when it was advertising heavily by Juice, right? Coming back, Paytm has rolled back its postpaid feature because RBI is seeing some risk in it. Now, how you as financial managers are managing that risk, that is also something which comes under the purview of financial management, because that is what investors care about. Investors care about future, dividend, financing plans. What is financing plans? The source of finance. It could be debt, it could be equity, right? And risk management. Wealth maximization and not profit maximization is the primary objective of business. Remember this. It can be measured as, how will you measure the wealth that you are creating? Total shareholder return is equals to dividend yield plus capital gain. So dividend yield is what? The dividend that you are getting on the stock, and capital gain is what? The increase or decrease. There can be capital loss also. The increase or decrease in the share price. So that is capital gain or loss. This is how you measure the shareholder return. Are you with me so far? Are you able to follow? Have you understood how do you measure the wealth of the shareholders? We measure it using the dividend yield and the capital gain or loss. So when we are talking about maximization of shareholder, always remember that investors are, your purview as financial management will be on investment decision, like where are you going to put money. So if you as a financial manager of a company have got X crores of rupee, now where do you put that money? That is investment decision, like whether you want to purchase fixed assets or whether you want to, pay off your employee salaries, anything for that matter, where you are investing the money, where you're putting your money. I'll scrap off that example of salaries, not a good example. That is for a very, side case of Byju's where they're in the verge of closing down. Investment decision for a normal going concern company will be where you're putting your money, where you're investing, which projects are you taking up. Second is financing decision. Now, financing decision, you should be clear. What is financing decision? What is the source of finance? Whether it is debt or it is equity. Next, dividend decision. These all decisions you will be taking as the financial managers. Okay, dividend decision is what? How much dividend we should be paying to the shareholders. That is nothing but dividend decisions. So all of these decisions that you are taking, you should ensure that you are managing the risks all along. So I'll tell you an example. With respect to financing decision, how risk is very important. So financing decision is about debt versus equity. Now tell me which out of the two is riskier? Which out of debt and equity is riskier? For the company, huh? I'm talking from the company's perspective. From the company's perspective, tell me. All of you are telling me debt. You are right. From the company's perspective, risk perspective, always it is debt. Huh? Debt is always riskier than equity. I'll tell you why. Because if you do not honor your payments on debt, what are your payments on debt? Payment of interest and repayment of principal, both. If you are not able to pay off your debt obligations on time, companies can be shut down because these are mandatory payments. Interest has to be mandatorily paid. All right. So debt is always riskier. Now imagine you would have, can you give me an example of a company which has very high debt? You would have heard it in the news also recently, Adani. Adani is riding high on debt. Okay. So it means that it has increased its financial risk a lot because it has got a lot of debt in its capital structure, which requires mandatory payment. Like, just to give you context, it is not mandatory to pay dividend on equity shares. Can you mandate a company to pay dividend to you if you are the equity shareholder? You cannot. Can you make the company shut down if they fail to pay dividend to you? No, you cannot. You can just pull back your investment. But if you have taken, if you have provided debt to a company and they are not paying you interest and principal on time, you can go to the necessary company law tribunals and make the company sell its assets and pay back the debt to you, interest and the principal both. Okay, so that is the difference. So if a company has a lot of debt in its capital structure, it means it is running very high on financial risk. Now you as financial managers will be responsible for managing this risk. We will learn all of that in the syllabus, but this is the overall purview of the activities which a financial manager does. What will it be? Investment decisions, where to put your money, where to invest the money. Financing division will be from where you get the sources of money. And third is the dividend decision. How much dividend, at what intervals should the company be paying the dividends? Okay. And taking all of these decisions, you need to ensure you are managing the risk of the company. All right. Please tell me any doubts that you have here. So Anirudh, the class is till 2:30. Okay. Recording you will get during the week. During the week, Tuesday or Thursday somewhere, that is where you will get the recordings. One second. Which point have I missed out? Salman, I guess both has pros and cons. Both has pros and cons point, Salman. Which point are you talking about? Profit maximization for dividend. Oh, so you are saying that only a profit-making company can pay dividend? Yes. So only if you have cash profits. To be precise, it will be cash profits. If a company has just book profits, if it is not able to realize its debtors and all, then it will not have cash profits and then it will not be able to pay off the dividends. So if it is a cash profit making company, then it can definitely pay off the dividends. You are right. All right. Next question is Priya is saying, could you share some more insights on corporate burnouts? In what way are you asking corporate burnout? Are you talking about layoffs? Investor profits. What about it? What about investor profits? Can you elaborate more, Priya? And then Gaurav has a doubt. Can you please confirm uh, whether capital intensive sectors like mining, real estate will have higher debt to equity? Normally, they tend to be on a higher side because the payouts, the cost of debt is less than cost of equity. So the capital intensive companies actually they tend to have higher debt. I have covered some examples also in the upcoming slides, so we'll cover it. Okay, using more cash reserves, showing less profit to stakeholders. Are you talking about accruals? Fake accruals, showing less profits. That's called bookmaking. You're trying to show that you're not into profits, but actually you're just making some reserves so that don't have to pay off dividends. Okay, so I'll tell you, these are all different types of tactics. Currently, we should not be discussing about it. Maybe when the relevant topics come up. But from that perspective, I mean, what do you want to know? What do you know? What do you want me to cover here? What is your thought? Tell me. Okay, so Gaurav is suggesting something. Can you please confirm, Priya, what is it that you're trying to say? I am not clear in your question till now. Sure, no problem. Just let me know whenever you have clarity. Okay. So this is about maximization of shareholders' wealth. So what have we learned? That investors, what do they care about? Future, they care about dividend. Investors care about financing plans and risk management. So your purview as a financial manager would be to handle the investment decisions, the financing decisions, dividend decision, and overall risk management. And what is the objective of a profit-making organization? It is wealth maximization. And how do you measure the wealth of a company? Through total shareholder return, which is equals to dividend yield plus capital gain. All right. So let's do one simple question on this. Let me present an Excel screen. Yeah, have a look here. Let's cover some examples, okay? So ITC, ITC as a company. So opening share price, closing share price, dividend paid during the year, calculates total shareholder return. So for ITC, let us say, this is the opening share price given to you, 200. At the end of the year, closing share price is 250. And dividend paid during the year is 25. Can you calculate the shareholder return for ITC's shareholders? So Priya, to answer your question, if a company is loss making, they will avoid paying dividends. They'll not pay dividends. They will enhance the wealth. Like for I gave you the example of Flipkart, they are increasing the wealth of the shareholders through capital gains. Salman and Parul have told me 75. Tell me in percentage terms. Tell me in percentage terms, what is the shareholder return? Return is always calculated as a percentage. Twinkle says 37.5. Perfect. So what is the formula? Solution. Let's do the solution. So total shareholder return is equals to dividend yield plus capital gain oblique loss. Right? This is the formula. So dividend yield is equals to what? Dividend divided by opening share price, which is 25 by 200, 12.5 percentage. Then we have capital gain. What is the capital gain? Change in share price by opening share price. What will it be? It will be 250 minus 200 over 200, 25. So what is the total? The total is 37.5%. Okay, just to tell you in detail what is dividend yield, what is capital gain or loss. This is how you would calculate a total shareholder return. Okay. Now let's look at each of these decisions in some more detail. First of all, we have investment decisions. So investment decisions in projects or by making acquisitions. So whether you want to grow your existing business by investing in new projects, or you want to make new acquisitions of different companies, right? They are often seen as the key mechanism for creating shareholder wealth. So I'll tell you the example here. Let's just put it in the slide also. Do you know Flipkart acquired Myntra? Are you aware about this? Yes? So let's just put that example. It is a way of investment decision. So they had some money. Now they acquired Myntra out of it. That is what? An investment decision. Okay, I just put its image here. One second now. Can give an example of Flipkart acquiring Myntra. So this was acquired, right? Okay, so this is an example of how an investment decision is taken. So investment decision in projects like a company taking up a new project or by making acquisitions, they are often seen as the key mechanism for creating shareholder wealth. So someone sitting in Flipkart would have taken this decision that we need to acquire Myntra, we need to expand ourselves in the lifestyle business. So they acquired an existing company. Flipkart has acquired a lot of companies. They have acquired Jabong, they've acquired Jeeves, a long list of acquisitions Flipkart has done. So they will need to be carefully analyzed to ensure that they are likely to be beneficial to the investor. Okay. So, this Zest money failure that I was talking to you about, there was initial talks of Zest to be acquired by PhonePe. As long as that news was there in the market, the company was working. But then PhonePe, rolled back its decision. And that is when the series of layoffs and all happened because the fundings had dried up. They were not getting money. And if they were not getting acquired by PhonePe, they were not finding any means to pay off the salaries or to even carry out their day-to-day workings. Okay. So they need to be, investment decisions. So there would have been a very prudent reason for PhonePe to not go ahead with that acquisition. That is all I'm trying to explain to you. That investment decisions are taken with a view in mind that yes, we would be, increasing the wealth of the shareholder in the long run. Shareholder of whom? So if Flipkart is acquiring Myntra, shareholders' wealth of Flipkart is to be, grown. It has to be maximized by this acquisition. Okay. So this is the investment decision. Now let us talk about financing decision. So as I told you, financing decision is about debt and equity composition in the capital structure of the company. Now, use of debt finance. One of the main aspects of financing decision is how much debt a firm is planning to use and whether using debt finance can help to reduce a business's weighted average cost of capital. So I told you, right, that debt is a cheaper source of finance as compared to equity. Can you tell me why? Can you tell me why debt is cheaper than equity? Think about it. Think from as an investor perspective, like when you're putting in debt, your money in debt versus when you're putting your money in equity. Next is because it saves tax. Some says fixed percentage. Okay, others. Why do you think debt is cheaper? Others also please try. Quick access, no interference. I'm asking about why is it cheaper? I'm not saying why is it preferred or anything. I'm asking why is it cheaper to get debt? Priya has touched it right. Expected returns. See, in debt, you get fixed returns, right? Fixed interest percentage you will get. No matter how much the business is booming, you have to pay debt a certain fixed percentage only. Whereas in equity, it is entire business growth is attributed to equity only. Okay. So the expected return of the debt from now, I told you think from the shareholder, I mean the investor's perspective. When you are putting money in debt, some of you would have invested in fixed deposits also. Fixed deposit is nothing but debt for the bank. They give you very low return. They will give you 6%, 6.5%, 7%. Whereas if you put your money in equity, you would have earned, it's not assured, but you can earn up to 10, 11% also. So when you put your money in debt, you know that since you are going to get assured returns, your expected returns are low. Whereas when you are putting money in equity, as an investor, I'm talking, okay? When I'm putting money in equity, I know that my entire investment could become zero. So I have personally faced that I invested in a certain share, then it lost its value. I was an equity shareholder. I did not get any value back because when you are investing in equity, you are exposing yourself to that risk. Whereas when you're putting money in debt, debt is supported by assets, security. So you take less risk in case of debt as compared to equity. So therefore, your expected returns are low, and accordingly, from the company's reverse, from now look at it from the company's perspective. Now debt holders want less returns. I am paying less, so my cost is less. Okay, so that is why debt is cheaper than equity. Why? Because for an investor, debt is less risky. Assured returns are there, and there is a security which is backing it up. So definitely, you have to pay less to the debt providers as compared to the equity providers. All right. Salman says, but ma'am, investors invest and make money in IPO. Yes, they do. I did not understand, like, what is the problem there? Is it assured? Tell me, Salman, is the return in the IPO assured? I have invested in Paytm IPO, for example. I have lost money also. So that is how things work. It was not a fact. I was giving you an example that people can lose money in IPO also. It's not like they always. Recently, Tata Tech IPO came. Oh my God, what returns it gave. Yes. So debt is cheaper than equity. Why? Because in debt, you have to pay just fixed percentage return, and the expectations of the debt provider are also less. Okay. So one of the main aspects of financing decisions is how much debt a firm is planning to use. Now, when you know that debt is cheap, you just have to pay fixed percentage. Whatever extra money that we are making as a business, it will remain with the founding members only. So let us use 99% debt and 1% will be my founding investment. Okay. Is it a good decision? Think about it. Debt is cheap. Debt is cheaper than equity. Why to take equity? I need money for running my business, so I should finance it through debt completely rather than equity. Is it a good decision? No, due to high risk. Because if the business is not able to deliver profits in a certain year, it will not be able to pay off its interest. The debt providers can sue the company. Then what? Your business is gone. So you have to decide on that right mix for your company. How much debt a firm is planning to use. This is the decision of a finance manager. One of the main aspects of finance decisions is how much debt a firm is planning to use and whether using that finance. You have to optimize the capital structure also in such a way that you are using appropriate volume or value of debt so that your weighted average cost of capital, weighted average of debt and equity is reduced. You have to find that optimal mix. Okay. So let's just pause here since we are on time almost. This table discussion will take some more time. So let's pause here for the day today and then we'll resume our discussion on this topic tomorrow. Okay. If you have any doubts, just let me know. We'll take it up tomorrow in the class. All right. I hope you're able to understand. If you feel that anything that I'm going fast, I'm going slow, just feel free to share your feedback. We can incorporate it in the class. Okay. Thank you so much. Bye-bye. And take care of yourselves. Thank you. Thank you.